Great, great. All right, call the meeting to order for September 16th, 2019 Board of Commissioners meeting in Merrimack Village District. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So it's 5:09, the meeting can proceed. We get first on the agenda is Michelle Bolton with financial review.
Yes, and the report that I just passed out is the general ledger detail on the capital assets that are construction in progress, so it includes wells 4 and 5, treatment plants, and then 2, 3, 7, and 8. So we'll start providing this each month. We've just been adding the detail to the invoices, so it just gives some sense of what the activity is. And we'll look to enhance it if we can. We're looking at some of the other options in the reporting module, but right now this provides us a basic status.
Okay.
And one thing that we don't usually see is the retainage. So you will see the retainage for the Penta invoices for 4 and 5. So you're going to see that accumulating there. And also with the AP, we're putting the invoices in. The AP that you'll see will be the net payment that's due. And then we're running the retainage goes through a different payable account. So we can provide that along with AP each week. We're not going to be paying it until much later on, but just so you can see what's accumulating in there. It's 10% and we're holding it in a newly established escrow account.
Cool.
And for the financials through August, we are still still posting the budget as we had done it, which was on an annual basis. So the prior budget was only done on an annual basis, so that the whole budget is in there. So we'll do, as we've done before, looking at 2 months into the year, that's 16.67% through the year. So that's sort of our reference against how items are doing against the budget. As far as the revenues, a couple of things to note. Obviously, our rate increased. I compared us against prior year. If I added a 19% increase to the prior year, it actually brought them up to almost 828,000. We're at 886. That also includes 36,000 in grant monies for the matching grant for wells 4 and 5. And I'm not sure, still waiting to hear back from DRA. I think that may end up going below the line because they didn't want it reported on our budget form since it's totally outside of the budget. It's for a project that's being directly done from the state Lebanon settlement proceeds and then capital reserves. So I think that's going to end up going below the line. So that's why I hadn't broken it out. We were going to add there is another grant, small grant we're going to be getting that we will add a grant revenue account line for, but I believe that's going to be moved below where we see the trustee of trust funds, interest income and expenses under other. So adjusting for that, that would bring us down about $850,000 for the first 2 months of the year. Adjusting prior year for the same point in time, they're at almost $828,000. So slightly above, but still running in line with how we have done in the past, with these quarters being stronger. Parts of the year in general, last year at this time it was 19.3% about what the budget was at the time, and we're running ourselves at 23% above the budget. But as I said, it includes the miscellaneous income, some SEC system development, those type of things that timing-wise are unpredictable.
So 2 months into it out of 12, that's about 17%. So those, if everything was in the perfect world, we should be right at 75% on everything. So that's kind of kind of.
Yes, and going forward with the budget, we can try to look at items that we can see the seasonality too and try to spread them out through the year so we can have a better sense of where we really are as to where we should be versus kind of always just looking at a flat percentage.
Is the line 40407 is the miscellaneous income? See that one's quite a bit higher. Is that?
That has the grant. It has the grant income. Yeah, I just put it in there for right now. It's normally where we posted grant money. I'm gonna create a grant income account line for other grants that we'll get, but I think that is that moving to the end of the reporting under other income that's outside of the budget comparisons. Looking down to the expenses, I will be adding a detail for the payroll for the budget reference. Shelley and I are working on it together and introduced this piece and picked up some of the subtotals versus the detail. So I will get that in there. Admin, we are going to see, officers, we are going to see that we will be above budget there because we made some conscious decisions as far as the minutes and the level of detail that we're wanting on the minutes. So we hadn't budgeted for that in the past. So we just changed, the level of detail, and that will just bring us above what we had budgeted there. But it won't be a problem to find the offsets. We're bottom in budget, so we can find the offsets in other places, and that won't be a problem.
Quick question on the accruals. I know I talked about this a lot over the last year, and we're getting more and more complex with our accruals, right? And with spreading out the more seasonal, expenses and so on, and revenues to go with accruals.
Yes, as far as far as our revenues.
Both on
Yeah.
revenue and cost side,
Yeah.
right? So I've seen more than once that I'm assuming this is done outside of the system somehow, right? Probably with spreadsheets, and you just post.
Yes, as far as the revenues, yes, we do, for the unbilled that are going to be the few months following when we're posting and pulling together our financials, we do a 3-year running average of the historical numbers. And then
Right.
for this year, we're then having to add on the 19% adjusting factor, is what we'll be doing.
Right, a lot of the financial systems have a hard time with accruals, both on the cost and on the revenue side, so I'm assuming a lot of that's done manually. What I've seen happening quite a bit is that a prior month accrual or reserve that has been accrued is not taken out of the current P&L, the current month P&L is being carried over. Do you have something in place that avoids that?
In the month-end checklist, I just have to check that like the payroll accrual backed out, the unbilled, anything that's truly just an estimated accrual for reporting sake. We do go ahead and I have it just to check. That's still manual, but it is an actual line that I do go through because I do when we first started doing this. A couple of times I did say.
It's easy to.
Yeah, it's a large enough number that especially for revenues, it will jump out at you. But a couple of times we did have it on the smaller items. So we just added it just as a line item. Like once we're done, we just run through the checklist for various things like that we've had occur in the past to make sure they're not still.
Okay. There's a balance. There's a sanity check against like the balance sheet or something like that. Where you
Yes. I run through the whole entire balance sheet before we put these together.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, and turning to page 2. We have some items that are, above the 17% mark, but it's mainly timing issues. Electricity, education, electricity, 60,000 at 18.9. 60225, education and seminars at 24.2.
It looks like you guys did a lot of the inspections and.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the vehicles, they're due in September,
I saw that in
so
the
all
last
that,
requisition, with all those,
yes.
must have just brought one in like every day or something.
Yep, all the work that needs to be done for the inspection sticker. So that's where we'll always see
Right.
R&M for the motor vehicles, front loading for the year. Same in account 60800, the leases. There's actually one item in there, I think that may need to be adjusted, but I was waiting to review with Shelley for about $1,000 that I think actually it's gonna belong to the future month, so will be more.
What is
in
the-
line.
What is the leases, what are the leases for?
It's for our Pitney Bowes, the
Okay,
meter,
just didn't know.
yeah, just the meter, our mail machine, copier, things along those lines. Tools, same thing, just simply ordering what we needed now. It's not something that has a set timing. Two items to note, the 70525 R&M office support, office equipment, that's the IT support. And that is actually something that we could, there are one or two items in there that could be spread, that are larger. A lot of them are small and just add up. So I wouldn't get into spreading something that's perhaps $1,000 a year. But there are a couple of our IT support annual billings that have grown with the Elements implementation. So that may be something that we start adding to the prepaids along with the insurance, prepaid postage, that type of thing, spread it a little bit more. Postage 80100, that's a little ahead of things because of the billing to all customers. But we should still come back in line going forward.
That's what I figured.
And then next page with the debt service, that's obviously just when the payments were due and have been paid, so. But those are directly budgeted against the amortization schedule that we have. So for there, we'll be in line for the year. Does anyone have any questions on the budget comparison? Okay.
Just note that the total expense is exactly 17.0%, so when you look at everything all together, we're kind of where we should be, I think.
Yeah, and we're a little bit ahead of things on revenue, time-wise. As we said, it's the stronger months of the year, so that's going to even out as we go forward, but expenses we're keeping in sync with where we should be. Prior year comparison. Obviously, this is gonna be off for the revenues with the rate increase and with usage, there's fluctuation in usage. Some of the higher percentages are just based on smaller numbers. As industrial water sales, there's been some reclassing as far as things between mercantile and industrial, and then small changes in usage for small numbers can have the higher percentages. But the domestic and mercantile, some of the mercantile is from reclassing, and the domestic would be a combination of a little bit higher usage and a rate increase. Page 2.
Can I ask a quick question?
Restricted?
With the fines and penalties, where the big difference, is that also because of the rate increase? I mean, from 10,000 to 4,000?
Some of it is the rate increase, but we've been being much more diligent about assessing any fines or penalties that are due. We've also brought our things for like returned items. We brought that more up to par with current day expenses that we're hit with. We also going forward are going to be assessing the late fees on the billings every month. It had been being done quarterly, but now we're still carrying a balance. That will be assessed every month, and we've noted that on the bills and we've highlighted it for folks to see. So we're hoping that that'll help get some more timely payments coming into us and improve the cash flow. Page 2, a couple items to notice that will explain our expenses being more positive this year than last. 60300, the purchase of water. Last year we were at 45,000. We've only spent 2,000. And account 70550 is the R&M pump station. Last year we had the station breakdown, so we had the emergency equipment that we had to get hold of there. So if we turn to the last page in the total expense line, we're almost 52,000 less than last year, but those two items are the bulk of the explanation there. And last year, we were at a loss already at the first couple of months of the year. So this year we're starting off stronger. Does anyone have any questions? For the P&L, just year to date, with the monthly totals, one thing to note, account 50450, that's our New Hampshire Retirement System Employer Contribution Match. Largest employer contribution. The August portion was posted inadvertently to the 1st of September, and we didn't catch it till after we had run the reports. So there'll be $8,700 that we will post, and that'll update. And I'm actually going to go ahead and put it in August. We can just note that there will be the prior period change when we do September to August. And a couple of other items. We hadn't had the trustee of trust funds statements or the MS9 reporting that we normally get each month. We didn't get that until today, so we'll have additional $9,000 in other income for the interest, the net interest of fees. And there'll be $15,000 in additional unrealized gains that will be posted. So, and actually in those two I will post to August, just for the historical record. And as far as St. Gobain proceeds, we're gonna have an additional $185,000 in proceeds for the 2 Penta invoices and for an Underwood invoice. We just got them, let's pull them on Friday. So we posted them for the payables, but that will come on with the offset to receivable from our escrow account and be under other income for St. Gobain settlement.
Okay.
And for the bank balances, Kathy and I are going to be getting together and test out the process with New Hampshire PIP for doing the transfers. And we're also looking at, on the expense side, for the contributions that we're going to be forwarding for payroll that we discussed last month, processing the ACH through our TD Bank online banking. So we will be moving some funds down to PDIP. They have about a 1 or 2 day turnaround, so just each week that we have an AP run, we'll just simply be transferring any funds back as needed.
So we have
Sure.
2 months posted, July and August, right, on here?
July and August, the only thing that is missing is 24,000 additional funds in the trustee of trust funds. They didn't have the office reporting.
I was just wondering, some of the numbers that are the same for both months, does that mean there's been like no interest credited or anything like that, or?
For the new production well account, the interest for that posts to the operating account.
Oh, okay.
And New Hampshire PDIP did have the interest posted, and then as I mentioned, I didn't have the figures to post for the capital reserve funds. But I will post it to August just so that for the historical record, it'll be clear for us and not cause confusion going forward.
Okay.
And the payroll reporting, that's getting the payroll report together, and we're still working on that, but we should be able to have it for next month, just so that you can just see the cyclical pattern, and also just see if there's any anomalies that you want us to look into further. Does anyone have any questions on the group together? Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Board of Commissioners to discuss capital projects with Underwood Engineers. We're going to be speaking about wells 2 and 3, site layout sketches, wells 4 and 5, treatment plant construction, wells 7 and 8, design cost report.
Hello, good evening. Good. Well, we have an update, should take a little bit less than an hour, we hope, depending on how many questions you guys ask. And we'll answer if we can, otherwise we'll have to get back with some of the other folks that are working on it. But I'm gonna turn over some of this to Pete, because he's gonna give a quick update. And if it's okay, I have a quick update on Turkey Hill Booster too.
Sure.
You know, kind of wrapping all the capital projects as well, but no, should start with 4 or 5.
Okay, so it's, well, 4 and 5 construction. So the contractor has started the work up there. They've gone up and cleared the site and, pretty much hauled out all the logs by now and everything. And, so they're grubbing it right now. So, we're pretty much on schedule with that. So, they have yard piping. It's supposed to be, to give you a couple ideas of, timetable stuff. So yard piping is supposed to be completed, by about mid-November. The concrete work in reference to the, foundation walls and the slab, that's supposed to be end of November. And then the masonry walls are supposed to be completed by mid-January. And then the treatment vessel right now is scheduled for mid to late February. So that's just kind of a timetable of milestones that they can do with that.
Does that need to be brought in before the roof goes on and everything?
They're thinking about, so the roof that we have in design that is 3 sections of the roof. So yeah, you can actually pull out the middle section if the vessels ever have to be removed. So they're toying with either putting up, some of the trusses and then scabbing in between just so they can get some cover on it. And then so they can do some work this winter. So they're kind of playing with some ideas of what they want to do. But they were initially thinking about at least laying that sort of the back half of the building, the roof trusses on that, because they can get that set up beforehand. So they haven't totally decided exactly what they're going to do with that. So they're moving along with that. Then in terms of the treatment vessel, we reviewed the warranty and we approved the warranty on that. So now they have signed a PO with Evoqua for that treatment unit. And the shop run is going to be coming in very soon on that. Hopefully pushing it out as fast as we can. So, yeah. And the other item that we have for well 4 and 5 is that sewer issue.
That's been one of my pet peeves ones, so. Well, we're supposed to set up a meeting, and I think we need to set up a meeting. And I think I was not at the meeting that was held at the wastewater plant. You were
At town hall, yeah.
Was at town hall. And, but I think, we may need you, Dawn, to help set this meeting up, because to be honest, I think this issue, if it's gonna get resolved, it's gonna be just more, it's not an engineering issue. Because the engineering was presented and the reasons for allowing the connection were presented, but it wasn't even considered. So I don't think us trying to, I think it's gonna be more of, hey, we need to talk with the higher ups and just have a conversation. And I think we have more clout coming from you for the request, I think, than us. We'd be happy to, but I think honestly, to make an impact, we might just need to start there. We'll be there, we'll invite DES, and then we'll just see what the conversation is.
Because we need to make a decision on this,
By contract, or by award, we said,
is it October sometime?
yeah, maybe by the end of the month even.
We would get 60 days, so we signed it pretty much August 1st, so it's the end of September.
Okay.
So one of the other things we can do is ask the contractor if he'd give us a little bit more time, but we did say it would be 60 days. I mean, he has a project, he has a way to do this. If we want to undo it and back it up to what we originally proposed, we should try to do that within a month.
So you'd be looking at trying to get a meeting done, scheduled.
Before the end of September, next couple of weeks.
Ideally, next week would be good, and then we'd have the week after that to finalize everything.
Great.
We can talk more about that,
Yeah,
I
I can talk
think.
to you about that.
We could even queue up an email for you, or talking points.
Okay.
But I think the request would be better than the
We're still talking about the
We're still trying to get
sanitary
back.
sewer.
Yeah, just to remind everybody what this is
Right.
we had originally had all the backwash of the waste streams going to the interceptor's tracks and discharged to the treatment plant. But they said, no, the only thing they would accept was sanitary waste, bathroom waste. They wouldn't take the waste discharges from the GAC backwashes. So we are now, Peter designed it so that it goes into the ground in your wellhead area.
Actually, I said at the beginning, we had an option to go to the sewer or to the
Yeah,
infiltration, and then we just cut off the line
Yeah.
going to the, so it all goes to the infiltration basin.
So primarily, we want to get the carbon backwash, carbon filter backwash to be able to go to the sewer. If that has been rejected so far, if that continues to be rejected, the thing that we want to do is what I want to do is to change. Right now, we have a sewer ejector pump. So we want to go back to gravity sewer. And there's a discrepancy between them wanting a 6 or an 8-inch main or something, but it's all
Yeah,
based on a slope.
Yeah, the smaller mains for the gravity for the bathroom just would come out of the ground. You can't, the slope didn't work unless you used the bigger pipe. So it didn't allow the bigger pipe because of the perception.
So it's still the same concept.
Nothing's changed, and we just need to, get it off the dime if we still want to pursue it. We think we should.
Who should we contact to set up that meeting? Kyle? Or council?
You can talk to Kyle.
I can talk to Cal, but I'm almost thinking we probably should go right through the town manager.
Okay, so that's where it's at.
And again, I think the option of pumping the backwash into the sewer system is off the table, right, at this point. Or we're still trying.
No.
I think it's trying to.
No, I think in the long view, you don't want to backwash and discharge your waste on the wellhead.
Right.
But I think in the long view, we want to be able to do
So I did meet with Kyle, just to kind of rehash our previous meeting. He was gonna try to talk to Sarita again, and see any other recommendations. I did float by him. So our last meeting was just it was a no. And I did float by Kyle that even if we can't discuss it down, it'd be nice to be able to build it, and once we have everything being treated, to be able to have the ability to go to wastewater. So if there's some sort of agreement, to do something else. But I haven't heard back.
Because they wanted information from us to say, what do you know, what's in the water you're sending us? We don't know that yet because we haven't put it online. So so we initially said, can we do a, conditional permit, and then they said no to that. So if we did do that, then we have some sort of idea of what we're doing.
So we would need a 15-inch sewer if that was the case. That's what we need. 8 inch is not big enough for
Not
the
that,
filter backwash.
right, exactly, yeah.
Okay.
But you could,
Yeah, I'll work with you and contact.
We'll queue up some talking points.
But I mean, just for the record, I mean, at a minimum, the sanitary sewer needs to be going through the proper septic connection with the town. With the sewer connection. I
Well,
mean,
it's,
a pump to me is just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Maintenance issues, it's gonna back up, we need to have somebody to find out, maintain that thing, and what kind of century are we living in? So, I mean, we gotta at least insist.
yeah, so that, on that point, is if you ran a 8-inch line with minimum slope, you can run that from the interceptor back to the building and have 4 foot of cover outside the building. If you, go to the 6 inches, they're saying that there's no need to up it to 8 with your flows. Then with the minimum slope of the 6 inch, you're gonna be at 2 feet at your building, and that's not enough cover. With the 4, you can throw a little insulation on you can keep that, from freezing and even and stuff like that. But the 6 you can't, so then if you have 2 feet, then that's why you're forced to go into a grinder pump station and force main, the 1.5 inch force main that is, and discharge it into the interceptor.
But I do think the bigger issue is the waste stream backlash.
Sure.
Because I also think that's a potentially larger cost to you too. I mean, I don't want you to think that the wastewater connection with the ejector pump is improper. It's definitely a maintenance issue for you, but it's, but I don't wanna lose sight of the backlash.
Okay.
That was it on 4 and 5. Lynette and Mike had queued up some stuff here, for 7, 8, and I'll just speak to it quickly, and I don't think, you have any questions, but I know they draft report was issued, comments were given, their comments were addressed in the report, were reissued in, last week. So hopefully everybody's seen that now, and I know some of the bigger changes were around the resin. And so she's just asking hopefully to address the question. And I'll say too, one of the things, we just had a little brief meeting this week to talk more about this. We want to plant the seed on October 9th. We'd like to have another work session on. So that was where we can sort of go through a lot of these detailed issues, because we're starting to get into some of the operational questions that are going to impact design, the breakthrough standards, when we, what we're targeting for the various compounds, whether we have regulatory limits or operational limits. So we want to start getting a little bit more into the weeds with those. So October 9th, we'll send something out for you, where a lot of this stuff will come up. Other things that will come up on that too is we're going to talk about standardizing or not standardizing. We have 3 treatment plants now. How much of a standardization we want? I think you want it to be as standard as possible. And and the disadvantages are you're starting to close the bidding a little bit. You're going to Ron and saying, Ron, give me a price for your equipment, because nobody else can give you a price. So we have to talk about that. But I think in the next month we want to make some decisions on that. You're getting a vote book for 4 and 5.
Yeah.
So we have to decide if we want to vote for the others.
If you want me at the meeting October 9th, I'm not gonna be available. I'm gonna be out of the country from like the 5th to the 15th. Immediately.
Let's have the meeting then.
I know.
Okay, we'll work around that.
So just, 5th to the 15th, I'm not available. If you need me, I mean, I'd like to be there. If
No, I think
possible,
it's-
change it. If not,
Yeah.
somebody else can go or something.
Quick question on the construction side, what kind of safety requirements do you have there if I wanted to stop by?
So if you want to go on site,
Shoes,
Yeah,
vest, hard hat?
hard hat,
Definitely, yeah,
steel toe shoes.
but definitely the rule is check the contractor,
Sure.
because it's his site.
Right.
But they usually be pretty good, they'll accommodate you. And if they're doing their job, they might have some of the equipment there for visitors.
I got equipment, just wanted to know if they have anything special.
And you have not met Joel, who's your site rep for Underwood, for you, so you would check in with him too.
That's the guy from Elliott.
Yeah.
Maine?
And as you drive into the site, just, you come around the corner, then you go down, come around the corner, go down the hill, there's a jog trailer right there on the right, that's it.
Yeah.
The contractor has not set up a jog trailer yet, he's using the back of a pull behind at his little office, and then he said this winter he probably set one up,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
We actually have spare hard hats here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think I've got it right too. Construction sites myself, so. So that was, so 7 and 8, you have the final design report,
In
Right.
front of you, and,
30%.
Yeah.
The final 30% design
Right, yeah,
report.
right.
and these guys are telling, me and telling you that, I think they're ahead of schedule on the next deliverable too. So the reason we wanted to have the October 9th plus or minus working around your schedule is because the next 2 deliverables are right after that. Late October, early November. So, and we wanna stay on track with those things. So we're probably gonna move that
Yeah,
up.
move it up, that's okay.
Up as in, like,
Before
the
before the fifth, right, yes, that's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike won't be here, cause he said he wasn't available till after the 5th, but I think,
You're going away for 2 weeks,
I know.
you guys are like, next week.
The ship's passing.
Yeah.
but I think it's more important that you guys are there because there's several of us who are all plugged in at the office.
right.
I'll let Peter, you go through 2, 3.
So 2 and 3, we have the water line roughly laid out of where the raw water line going between well 2 and well 3. We have that, we're going through the, coming from, if you're starting at 2, you go down the Woods Road, and we're gonna have to cross out into the little wetlands area and then do a directional drill through the wetlands. It's actually a nice little peninsula out in that wetlands area that we're gonna be able to stay on the, out of the wetland, So we'll pop up there, we'll do a directional drill underneath the wetlands, come out somewhere near, it's on the south side of well 1. And then we'll come up through, work along through the village district, maintenance area down there, the pit. Come up along the north side of the access road, come up, and then directional drill underneath Continental Boulevard and the sewer, then pop out up on Camp Sargent. And then we're looking at doing pipe bursting down Camp Sargent, down along the old AC line. And pipe bursting is a trenchless technology where they send, sort of the ramming, thing. They'll just actually take the pipe and, exactly what it says, it bursts it, and then it drags along the new pipe along in that same hole. So we can, break up that AC pipe, it can stay in the ground, so we don't have any problems with that, and just drag a new HDPE pipe right along that. So we can, it looks like it can definitely be done from where we tie in, right across from the maintenance, entrance, all the way down to where Camp Sargent ties back into Continental. Right there, there's existing lines, look like there's some bends and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not sure how we can work through that. But then we're gonna, we'll need to also continue that going underneath Continental, in front of Dunkin' Donuts, and that will actually carry you right to where we wanna tie into, right at the, where the treatment plant will tie into that. So we're still investigating exactly that, and we might have to do some investigative work, looking, pop in there and get a camera down in some of those areas and find out exactly what we have for bends and all that. So if we can do that, pipe burst in there, worst case, I guess there'd be an area where we'd have to do some open cut trenching to tie some of those in because of all the bends. So
Would that not be crossing Continental Boulevard though with an open cut? Or-
Nope, we're gonna cross it, one through a directional drill and one with a pipe burst. That's the initial goal.
So the 2 active lines in Continental, we had talked about using 1, but are we getting away from that idea?
You got away from that, yeah, because hydraulically, right, you would be just all right, with well 7 and 8, but then if you add in Pennachuck as another supply and you're running 7 and 8, trying to force all that water up through, then you would be creating that bottleneck. So we said, okay, that's probably not the best interest to be, it's a little bit short-sighted to be.
Yeah, because I think the last time you said it was gonna be like a 3 PSI pressure increase, but that didn't include the Pennachuck
I
connection.
forget exactly what it was. It was somewhere in that ballpark, though, yeah.
I don't remember the numbers either, but I would be resistant to doing that. We spent a lot of time and money getting rid of the bottlenecks 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And you did.
yeah.
The Continental Boulevard project and through the malls. I wouldn't want to start creating another one.
Yeah. The only other thing I was thinking, and maybe this is kind of costly too, is how you're going from well 2 over to the warehouse.
Yeah.
And then coming up to Continental.
Mhm.
What would be the cost if we did 2 parallel lines? So that one would be a raw water feed, and then the other one would be a return to tie back into Berry Lane, to get rid of the bottleneck at
And which one's Berry Lane?
where the pump station is.
Oh, that's this road down there,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay.
I thought you knew
Okay,
that.
I know,
That's not high pressure zone, is it, or is that just on this side of the high pressure zone?
It's the regular pressure zone.
I don't know, it was just because I had originally thought of this when we were talking about putting wells 2 and 3 together, that if we're not, we wouldn't be because right now well 2 is feeding a lot of the system, well, all of the system through Berry Lane. And with all that water now would be coming across
That's
Continental.
right, yeah.
So that's what I was saying, if we would need to just put a parallel line in to feed it back. In other words, tie that into the line that's in
Right, yeah,
Continental
right,
right
yeah.
now and feed it back. But I don't know, I know using that other line in Continental there's a bunch of service connections that we have to redo over as well. We talked about like 5 of them.
At
So
least, yeah.
once we start messing around with that, maybe just avoiding that altogether. If we can do the pipe bursting thing on the AC pipe,
Yeah.
maybe that's,
We'll
I'm just throwing it out
Yeah, we'll
there,
look at it.
just
I wrote
for
that
you to
down.
think about, you know. I don't know if that would,
It's just on the wrong side of the, I mean, it's further, you're getting further up. A lot of following, it's further back. But we'll take a look to see if that makes any sense.
Yeah, if the pipe bursting doesn't go, then another option we're thinking about is, because on Continental Boulevard, you got the road, and you got your water line, which is somewhere in the shoulder, then you got the poles, then you got, when you're doing, excavation, you wanna be 10 feet from that. So that's gonna carry you on to private property. The other option is possibly doing a directional drill and getting the easement from the old atrium, whatever.
Getting to.
From them to go along there, but that would be in sort of a building setback area, so usually it's fairly easy to get the easements in those areas because they can't build there,
mhm,
so,
mhm.
so that would be another option. If the pipe person doesn't come.
Well, that's good, I'm glad you're looking into this, so we're making progress, that's
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah.
So that's about the water main route. The geotech is gonna be out there doing borings on September 17th to determine, soils and stuff like that. I don't believe we're gonna be hitting any ledge, but they're gonna pop a few. So
Where is he gonna be doing, the site here or along?
it's along the
route?
both,
Okay,
the treatment plant site and along the raw water line route.
okay,
So we're also having them, while he's out here, we're having them do a couple on Continental Boulevard, so in case we have to go with the other option of directional drilling on the, I keep calling it the atrium. Along their property, then at least we have the, the soil data and stuff like that, so.
okay,
And then that will tell us if there's any ledge. We do have some borings from the work that you did on Camp Sargent, that old project. We do have some borings along there. So, just, looking at ledge, 'cause I know there's a ton of ledge up by the malls.
mhm,
And then there's, some more down there. And then you have your pet, I believe that the contour of the ledge surface is going down, that we're not gonna be getting into it. But it's very good to have the, types of soils down there when you're doing your directional drilling, so that the contractor knows who's gonna get into it.
yeah, hopefully it's getting deeper as it gets into the
Yeah.
Natticook Brook
Yeah.
watershed area there, the, corridor.
Yeah, and then hopefully you have, it's not all sand, because, if you have a live sand, that's not the best thing for directional drilling or long directional drills. Because the live sand, if you don't have enough fines in it, it'll collapse in on you as you're boring through, so.
Did you say that the test borings are starting on the 17th, like
17th.
tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was actually supposed to go today, but they had actually didn't notify wastewater. So I sent them over a name today for them to get a hold of somebody to get that marked down as well.
And they've got, all the correct liability insurance for utilities, interference and whatnot, if anything happens.
Yeah.
And they call dig safe.
Yeah.
We laid out the borings.
I laid out the line, and then, Mark from Gillespie laid out the line. And then the survey of the treatment plant site they're gonna be out there probably next week. They said they're gonna have it done by the end of the month, so. That's what we got there. The site layout, and I brought a drawing of it if you wanna look at what we have. We did send that out roughly what we were looking at. And the chosen site for the plant, you want me to pull that out, by the way?
We have a copy of it.
Yes. That one right there, yeah. So, the chosen site was obviously, the one right in front of well, number 3. And we're going up on a plateau area, and if you walk out, there's a plateau area. We're looking at putting it there. We're also looking at putting a future office for the MDD out there, so we're trying to lay out the site such that we take that into consideration, so we can put that building in and get the parking lot in there and everything kind of fits in there together. And so on that plateau area, what we're looking to do is take it and cut it down around 4 to 6 feet. That'll create a little bit bigger of a plateau area. That'll also give us some material to move around on the site, so we can fill in some of the other lower. If you actually walk out in the woods, a few of us walked out in the woods, it's actually fairly decent terrain changes out there.
Yeah.
So if we can create a little bit of on-site material and we can use it out there, we can really make that site a lot more usable for you instead of just sticking with just that.
It's got some pretty good slopes on both
Yeah.
sides.
And there are some natural depression areas out there that we're looking at doing for infiltration. So we're gonna try to get our basins in those areas. And so the geotech, when he's doing some of his boring work, he's also required to do some perk testing out there, so we'll know what the rate of percolation is with that material and how effective our basins is gonna be. And that. The major infiltration basin that we're looking at is it's not on your plan, it's on this one. We kind of did that after the fact. So here's what you're looking at here for the plan, and then the infiltration basins over here and that, that natural depression. I think we put a little note on there saying infiltration basin.
Yeah.
But we got those in there, got them roughly graded off now.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Who owns all this land? Village District? Wouldn't it be easy to get an easement from the company to a straight line to this point? Rather than go all the way up, over across, back down?
You get it from Atrium and run that way? Yeah. It could be easier going that way.
Lot less expensive?
Keeps us out of continental and all that.
Right.
Yeah, certainly could do that. Then when you come up, then you would have to, look exactly how the alignment of the existing pipes are going from Greens Pond Road to the other side of Dunkin' Donuts, the south side of Dunkin' Donuts, is how we get through there.
Go back to the
Then
woods,
if it works, you could always go down Greens Pond Road a tiny bit and just cut out,
cut through the woods.
get through the woods on your property.
It's all cheaper than taking a hot dog.
Yeah, but on, when we were going along, Camp Sargent Road, that pipe bursting is all trenchless technology, which everything's underground, conserving.
With Don's idea of doubling the pipe, it's all across lots of wooded area.
It certainly could.
When we walk, you talk going down,
The back lot of the garage, the warehouse, going across the lots behind Acre.
All behind Atrium, okay, we did look at that,
we
yes.
walked that, it wasn't gonna be that easy, it was a lot of that,
There's a lot of wetlands out there, there's a lot of actually ledge outcrops that we were seeing out there, so I think when they were graveling, mining that for gravel, I think they got down to the ledge surface and that's where they stopped. So I think you might find some pockets of some areas, but you're gonna be doing a lot of blasting along there.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did look at that, yeah. But, the other option of being in the front side of Atrium, that's,
Go straight through.
because they
Kind
got
of
a
a
little
berm
bit
there
of
now,
a berm
right?
there, yeah.
Between the Atrium parking lot and Continental Boulevard, kind of goes up that
Exactly,
way.
yeah.
Well, the other thing, if we are ever planning to put the office over there, it would be nice to have a straight shot access for the public and not through some second-hand parking lots.
Yeah, so what we were thinking on that is you have the traffic lights right there. So, and Ron really liked that idea, is because you're right at the traffic lights, you go in there, instead of taking a right to Dunkin' Donuts, you take a left to go to your office, you come back out, and you're right at the traffic lights, instead of pulling out on the Continental where you get. Because when Ron and I were walking across here, it's like, all of a sudden there's somebody, screaming down there 55, so it's a little bit dangerous. So that's a safe entrance, I think.
This crossover here to get onto that little side road from Continental, isn't this pretty hard to navigate for a tractor trailer?
No, they would be able to swing down.
They would?
Yeah. And we have the room there to,
Maybe the wire need to something.
yeah.
Just see it's pretty tight here.
Actually, I don't think you can see the,
where the property line is.
Oh, yeah, it is right there, yeah. Yeah, see? So these are, all these radiuses here, you know, that was, a tractor trailer can make it around those.
Right, but this
Yeah.
seems tight in here for some reason. But, maybe not.
Yeah. When it comes out, I guess you would probably, that radius, inside radius, yeah, you would probably have to do a little improvement there, yeah. We just kind of carry the road to the edge of the pavement, just kind of stop it.
Are you doing property line boundary survey at all to find out where, is that all our property right up to?
We do it right away. We do not have, we're not doing a property bound survey, so we could have them do some research.
Is that where that intersection is there?
Yep.
Like, we don't own that driveway going to Dunkin' Donuts. There must be some. We have to
I
find
think
it.
it's shared property lines on
Yeah, I'm not sure what that.
I mean, this sketch shows it on your property. Not that this is correct, I guess, but the tax map suggests it's on your property. They must have some easement to you, I don't know. But that's a good question, we should look at.
Yeah, 'cause even the way we get access for our lines that are going through there, we're gonna need to know
Right.
if it's town property versus if it's private.
Yeah.
Again, where does the state take off from Continental?
There's the other change.
Right in that.
From industrial going which way? Back
Towards Benedict there.
towards Penchuk Square.
So what portion of the parking lot would be intended to be done now?
I was envisioning, you know, pretty much all of that parking lot would not be constructed now.
Would not be.
Yeah, because I think, you know, there's enough parking around the side of it, you know, for the, you know, workers' vehicles and stuff like that.
No, I agree, because
Yeah.
as far as the office size, I don't think we want to lock ourselves down now, you know, constrained by the parking lot.
Yeah.
We're about something there.
Right.
Find we need to make or something.
But we will need this road here in between, because that's the GAC, you know, trucks will be coming around. Yeah.
So I think you emailed this to me a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you had a couple
I
calls.
did have a couple comments on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the grades
The grade going through the parking lot, we would need to check that to verify that that would work.
right.
Yeah.
Because you got an office door of 220 on one end and then like not too far away on the other corner. It's at
Yeah.
12,
So
so it's like
I-
an 8-foot drop
Yeah, so I think that
in a short distance.
yeah, that 220, you know, I think there would probably have to be some steps going into that and some kind of a ramp for handicap going into that, and we haven't really looked at that exactly, what that would be. But I was envisioning something like this, you know, so, you know, this 218 contour, you know, coming across here, you know, this just 212 going across here, then you got a 14 and 16 kind of something in that ballpark, and then we had to play with it a little bit more. This is more just a conceptual, everybody kind of goes, yeah, that's good, then we were gonna work with it more to make sure it all
Yeah.
fit in.
And those are current elevations, right? Not the ones you intend to have graded later.
The
The dark
contours,
ones are proposed, the dash ones are existing.
yeah, so I just did the, proposed grades just along the road, so, you know, so everybody could see, you know, how it was sloping and stuff like that. I did not do grading all outside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just really just like, yeah, does this look good? And then we can proceed with it, so.
So basically, you're accessing the treatment plant and the future office at 2 levels. So you're accessing it at an upper floor, and then you're also accessing it at a lower.
Yeah, so,
too, right?
so this, you know, if you wanna split this treatment plant into thirds, you know, so this third here would be sort of like the GAC room, and that's where your tall vessels, you know, so that would be, so as you walk into there, so instead of how we're gonna have it at, 7 and 8, just because we don't, you know, this wasn't planned and all that, so we can't really walk into the basement, you know,
Yeah.
or, you know, that lower level. So we wanna be able to do that, because we think that that's a lot easier to work with and all that kind of stuff. So that's why we wanted to have this sloping down, that they can have a walkout, and you can have your trailer trucks coming right in there and just open, you know, a pair of double doors, you can get the hoses in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So then, this portion in here would be, you know, and we are still playing around with the configurations on that, but there would be a clear well below that, and then, you know, so the floor of the clear well is gonna be about the same elevation as the GAC room. And then, you know, up top, you would have the green sand tanks and the chem feeds and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what are you still planning on a horizontal green sand vessel, or that
Yeah,
might change or
Yeah,
something?
we're looking at more of the vertical ones, yeah, yeah. Because some of the manufacturers, they have, is a common under drain on those, so then when you're doing some of the backwashing, you have to shut down everything compared to everything being isolated.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then also, we're looking at, again, you know, going, you know, we're trying to standardize, you know, and we're looking at, so not only are we trying to standardize with the GAC, but we're trying to standardize on the manganese removal, so we'd be looking at, you know, some talking units in there.
That's another agenda item for this
Right.
meeting, to talk about that too.
The whole standardization.
Standardization,
yeah,
selection of the vessels, you know, pros and cons of those choices.
Okay. I just wanted to say, if it's too challenging to try and cite a future office building to be in addition to the treatment plant, maybe we're overthinking it. Maybe we just say, all right, you know what, if it's too cumbersome, maybe we just, you know, look at a treatment plant being separate and a future office building being separate instead of having them next to each other
Right.
and in addition.
Yeah.
I don't know, so we did go and look at Penachuk's facility, and, you know, they do have a nice office that's connected to their distribution warehouse.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know, just because that works there well, I don't know. If it's gonna cause like too much difficulty in trying to get the site layout to work correctly.
Yeah.
Because this here, I don't think this is gonna work well the way with the elevations here. You know, you got with all the ramps and everything you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right.
It might, if that's causing more problem with that. The only reason I was thinking of making the future office in addition to the treatment plant is I thought it was gonna be a cost saving measure.
Right.
Because you have a common wall there that you wouldn't have to build.
Right.
You just gotta build 3 walls if you're tying into a treatment plant.
Right.
So I thought that would be a cost savings, but if we're gonna end up costing more in site preparation.
Right.
And ramps and things, then maybe it's not really worth joining the buildings together.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed, so when I look at the elevations here, high point is somewhere around 220, right, 224. 225 back here,
Oh, yeah, the site, yeah, yep,
but like here's that dip of 200, right, and then goes back up to 220, 210 and back down to 204. Wouldn't it be easier to basically scrape the high points into that ditch
and then we were gonna.
to have a really large area that's
So that's what we're
flattened
gonna
out?
be doing, so that we didn't really, that's why I was taking the site and bringing this area up top here, we're gonna take it down, you know,
Which area on top?
the area like along here, that
Right.
area would be taken down 4 to 6 feet, and then you can take some of that and fill in some of the depressions and.
Because he's
Yeah.
cutting down, you see a 220 right there,
Yeah.
and there's a 210 there, so
Right,
he's cutting that like
Okay.
10 feet.
Okay, because I mean, we have all this empty space here that would be, you know, very easy to use for future building and parking lot, right?
You certainly could do that, yeah.
Because
right,
I agree, I hadn't really intended that we put the future office as an addition to the filtration plant. I just wanted to make sure that in the overall plan, access road and you know, the bypass roads for the trucks and so on, turn around and so on, that we're not ending up cornering ourselves with the, you know, with the setbacks and everything and
Yeah.
and the properties of, you know, the elevations and ledge and so on, that we don't corner ourselves and not have an option to build an office there later. So from my standpoint, it doesn't have to be connected at all. It just makes it easier. Because this seems to be, in the end, we should be able to achieve almost a pretty level area down here, right?
Yeah.
With all
Oh,
the
yeah,
excess
you-
material leave, because that's pretty much one ditch here.
And you have one big low pocket there, yeah.
Right. And that can be filled in with whatever we're scraping off up here.
Right.
Well, I get the message, I get the point, let's lay the treatment plant out first, get the grades what we
Yeah.
want it,
Yeah.
And then if there's an opportunity, do
Yeah.
it. If there's not, as I think Wolf was suggesting, then we'll just move it.
I mean, to me, it seems like it might be like trying to integrate the office as an addition to the treatment plant. It might be difficult for the whole site, so maybe it just makes sense to keep them.
Well, and you also wanna think about what your office looks like when you drive up to it too. It's
Yeah.
really gonna look like something that's attached to.
Well,
a
that's why
very
we
large
wanted to,
facility.
that's why we wanna look at the Pennachuck plan, we went and looked at that, because that is decent looking.
It does look well,
You
yeah.
know, so we were
Yeah.
just
And the
seeing
first
how that
thing you
would
see
blend in,
is,
yeah.
you know, the
office.
office is there, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know if you can, I don't know if it makes sense to go, I wouldn't say go to the effort of doing the profiles
Yeah.
again like that. I think once we get a site grading layout that works,
Yeah.
then I think you can go to that level, so you probably don't need to go to this.
I wanted to play with that to make sure that, you know, my grade.
Yeah, the rest of the road, that's
Along
probably-
the roads and all this kind of stuff, that, you know, that was gonna be good.
Hopefully that's gonna kind of stay pretty much what you got.
Yeah.
We'll just try to make the interior work a little bit better in there.
Yeah.
So
We did have an option before that we had, a
We did.
building somewhat
Separate, yeah.
separate. And you certainly could have the, you know, so the building, you know, is over here, you could slide the building up close to the road, it's a little more visible, and, you know, that's an attraction, and, you know,
right,
stuff like that.
The other thought is, the treatment building here is pretty boxed in. If we end up facing another contamination down the road.
Okay, yeah,
Let's face it, we don't know,
I'll
right?
put an addition on it,
Right,
yeah,
we have no room to go anywhere, right? So without wanting to throw a wrench in the gear, but maybe it would be better to have the treatment plant in larger pocket here on the left.
Yeah.
So we have room to grow or something else comes up.
well, I think but in order to get the fill in here, you have to take this down, so I don't think it would be bad to have that there.
No, I
Then
agree,
you
I
could
agree.
always
I agree.
move the road, but yeah.
Right.
But that would be a good reason to have the office away from that.
Right.
So then you can expand it any direction that you might want,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, cause you had a thing here with the office being
Yeah, out front there, yeah.
set back from the treatment plant. Right,
So is the consensus to probably separate them? Or do you want to still look at both options?
I don't know, if this right here, I don't think works well
Yeah.
based on the grades, and I don't see how you can change it.
Yeah.
You know, because they're just right next to each other.
Yeah,
touching each
so
other.
you really need you need that elevation on the low area,
Yeah,
you know, you need that one. And you wanna be entering the other area up higher. So I had the grades going around the road at 218 with a floor elevation of 220, so you still got 2 feet going into your building.
right,
So there'd be some sort of a ramp going up in. You know, so I tried to get that down lower, so then when your parking lot is, you know, you don't have as much of a grade change going through your parking lot as you were talking about, you know.
so I guess the question would be, it's funny, we're talking about how a future office building headquarters integrates into the site, but you kind of need to ask the questions about what you want that future office building to look like. Do we want a 2-story building? Because if I'm not mistaken, Pennachuck's office facility was just 1 story.
Yeah.
And that works for them.
So the one thing about the 2-story that you get into a problem with, and I was looking at that with the site grading, is if you're gonna have, you know, handicap accessibility to both levels, that's where you get into a problem. So I was trying to, you know, have your, you know, and again, an entrance down here with some handicap parking, so if you were gonna go with something like this, where your meeting room's downstairs, you gotta have some handicap spots so people can get into the bottom level, but then you also have to have some handicap spots when people have to come up and go to the main office area.
Right.
So, you know,
So that did work for that.
yeah, so you still, so compared, the cost of an elevator compared to like doubling your footprint, well, probably the cost of an elevator is cheaper than doubling your footprint, but it's a little different ways you wanna look at that, yeah.
So I guess I was kind of picturing the 2 floors, but the basement basically being meeting room.
Mhm.
And maybe server room and
Yeah.
stuff like that down there. When you set the office more towards the middle, create a stairway, and then you'd have your ramp up coming from the side, do that. Have more of a,
I didn't follow what you were.
if you were to
Oh, in the middle of the treatment plant
kind
building.
of set it over, or not quite that far, but something here, have a stairway that comes up, and then you could almost do a ramp backwards like this, and have your weekend parking over here.
Yeah, you could do something like that, yeah. We could play around with that, yeah. But then you get into the problem, like, at least what Wolf says, if you have anything attached to your building and you have all the grades for the parking, you're pretty much, you're taking away that side of the building for any kind of a future expansion.
No, I agree, I guess it was kind of, one thing I liked about them being attached is if you could almost walk through the building, if you had visitors and you
Yeah.
wanted to do a tour, you don't have to go outside to go out to a treatment plant, you can actually go right through, you're almost gonna
Right.
have window or, in the area, the bill paying area, you can, the reception area, you walk in to pay your bill, and you can almost, if you look down, you could be looking right into the treatment plant as well, and I think it'd be kind of an
sure.
impressive.
And I think we can do that. The question is just, can we change the ratio for these two pockets that we have here? We're kind of using the smallest pocket that we have between those two. Boxing is kind of in, we're constrained in every direction, right? If we just change the arrangement, and again, maybe I'm missing something, but if we were to use the larger pocket
Over here, yeah.
over here,
Yeah.
and again, maybe I'm missing something, but if we take that whole thing and move it over here,
The only problem is then you're gonna be putting an addition on top of a major fill area. I think I'd like to have the building on native material and not on a fill area.
okay.
Even though you can compact it, I like that idea of having it being on native.
There's no good way to move that road over, right?
We
Because
could,
that
well,
road here-
we can certainly move that road over, yeah.
despite that ditch here,
That low area,
right?
yeah, we can fill that in. Yeah, we need that road, close to the building for the GAC trucks coming in.
Okay.
We certainly can make the road wider for the GAC trucks gonna be pulling in, and you also have some parking,
The meeting on the fifth we'll have to bring this down, so we'll come up with some other concepts, clean up this concept.
Yeah.
And by that meeting, we'll be making a decision, so we can keep going.
I just don't want to, find in a couple of years from now that we need this
No, you're
different
right.
type of filter media and we have
Yeah.
nowhere to go.
Yeah, no, it's all correct. We just need to probably put a little more pen and paper so we can have another productive conversation about it.
So prior to that meeting, we could plop together a few, options and send it out for some comments.
Sorry to send you back to the drawing board.
No, it's the thing
Fatal thing
that you have to.
If you don't put something on paper, you don't get a reaction to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a ton of work on that, it was work, but it's not like we've gone so far that it's really, we're losing it going back. And that's why I didn't play around with the contour,
Yeah, that's true.
I agree with Wolf, we gotta look at future expansion. Probably ought to go back to the original plan, the village district had the building and office next to the warehouse. Totally separate from all these treatment plants.
You don't just go down there.
That was the original, right?
For the garages.
Yeah. I think the concern is the access in and out of there off the Continental.
Could be improved.
What I'm hearing This is a treatment plant site first, so we gotta decide,
Yeah.
design it for a treatment plant. You know, make sure it's got all the provisions we want, it's gonna make sure it's got the expandability we want. If we can see that an office space fits after that, we'll just show it as a future office. You'll always have the decision to go back to where you want to work. But let's focus on making it a treatment plant site and then seeing what fits after that.
And with that said, I wouldn't mind taking the treatment plant and sliding it back a little bit, just to give you some more area up here. So if you wanna be doing something, we're not confining you in this way too much, right?
And I understood it, you just wanted to know that you had an option. You know,
That's
like,
really
I don't
it,
think you
yeah.
were making the decision to be here, or even to build one, you were just saying, was there an option? So we'll just keep it at that, it's an option.
I don't want it to get in the way of making progress.
No, that's right.
You know, staying on our schedule, so.
That's right.
Okay,
So that,
what do the roof lines look like here? Is this like a pitch? Or is it
yeah,
flat, or-
right now is, you know, we haven't really worked with, the architect and I don't know how much you want it, you know, this is gonna be a little bit more visible site than 7 and 8, 4 and 5, you know? But it's still not gonna be, it's not in front of, you know, directly on the road. So I don't know what you want, you know, so initially we're thinking just the big barn right now, you know, that's,
What's 7 and 8? That has a peak on it, or it's not flat?
no, but yeah, just a big long, you know. And then so this one, you know, so now 7 8 is gonna go like this, and then with the addition, then the roof line is gonna go up a little bit and then go back, you know, so it's gonna be 2 tiered, but
Yeah.
the roof line's all going the same direction and all pitching off to the side, so there's no L shape, no hip roofs, there's no dormers,
Obviously, here
there's
you're
none
gonna
of
have
that
like
stuff.
stormwater infiltration, you gotta have to do here for the pavement, the parking lots.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We kinda hit the building layout of that, like we kinda hit all that, yeah, but yeah. I think we're done with it, unless you have any more questions, but great.
We'll work on scheduling a work session meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Real
Oh,
quick,
I was just gonna say on this report, the wells 7 and 8, 30% report. I'd like to get, it'd be nice to get a copy, PDF file if possible, and upload that to the website or something, or?
we probably have a PDF, and what I was just gonna say, or one of the things I was gonna say is we're gonna clean up, how many of you are using our portal?
I've been on it a few
Okay.
times.
We're gonna clean, I was looking at it again this morning on the Merrimack stuff, so we're gonna clean it up and get it a little bit more, better organized for this project.
Yeah,
And so it'll be on there,
yeah, okay.
and then you can download it and put it wherever you want, you can always have access to it. If you, with a big file, you can download it and put it on your web.
We made these copies, right?
Is that,
I think we made these copies,
Yes.
so we have it electronic.
we probably already have it on.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try to do that for the purposes of everybody involved, so we have one central place where everything fits, you know, with a password.
So in the PDF file, can you make this like an 11 by 17?
Yeah, I think
Just a
that's
page,
supposed to be.
there's a couple of pages here.
They were designed as well.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
Right, and I think they just got printed taken out by 11, that's why you can't really read.
Other site plans that way too?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, for
but
those,
obviously
yeah,
those are 24 by 36.
yeah, those, but those should have been 11 by 17.
11 by
too,
17, okay. Okay, which I understand for this packet, it's just easier to print that 8.5 by 11, so that's fine. I think if someone's gonna be reviewing the PDF file, they'll be able to see it.
Yeah, it will be 11, it should be 11.
Is it that report?
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll also.
Yeah, actually, this report here, the hard copy of it, we gave you, they are
Well, yeah.
11 by 17, so we just need
Can you
to.
read the years on there and stuff?
Yeah, you actually can.
Good.
Yeah. Actually, it's not that tough. It's smaller, but it's legible.
All right, good.
Yeah, so when we were making the PDF copy thing, when we were making the PDF.
Yep.
For long.
That's what I was asking you.
Real quick on the funding, prior, at some point before the next meeting, you'll get the funding applications that will need to go into the trust funds and the loan. There'll be an environmental review process as part of that too, so that'll be happening simultaneously.
And you said you had an update on Booster Station?
Yes, but before I go there, was there any movement on the ZLA?
I sent you the 5 emails of 20 pages of calculations that I can't figure out have any purpose in life that I got from Jeff and Lou. But the fact of the matter is he's still talking about an empty bed contact time of like 30 to 40 minutes. And the carbon is at 8 to 12.
Yeah, 10.
So my answer to Jeff was, you need 4 times, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's all based on empty bed contact time. You're gonna need 4 times the size of the tanks that you will with carbon. And he's got the positive and negative things, so I don't know if that means you need 4 times the size of each kind of tanks. So is that 8 times? But I can't follow really the calculations he's providing. He's getting into the porosity of the media and all that, and I keep telling him it's empty bed, right? Doesn't matter. It could be marbles, could be stones, could be toasters, could be whatever's in that vessel. To this level, it doesn't matter. It's empty. Empty bed. He's just not understanding that. And keeps telling me it's different because the porosity is different, and so I'm just confused, and I just didn't have time to go through 20 pages of calculations that I can't see pertain to anything when the empty bed contact time is telling me it's going to be 4 times greater. I would like to send you those emails. I don't know if you, I'll send them to you. I don't know if you want to look at them and see if you can make any sense out of them. I know you don't even have really an approved contract with us to look that stuff up.
No, but I mean, it's taking a few hours to go through them is not a big deal.
Yeah.
So,
And
you still of the mind that something's going to happen with a pilot? Because if so, then we'll definitely take a look at it.
All right. And, I also asked him, because we made Jill the point person on that he was supposed to send everything to her and he was supposed to send it to them. But he just keeps emailing it to my personal email, no matter what I say.
Send it along. We were curious probably more as much as anything.
Yeah.
What's happening.
I probably should have sent it along. I was trying to get some time to review it to see if I made heads and tails of it myself. And I'm not making heads and tails of it, so I'll run it to you guys to see if you have any different conclusions. But if you want to try to interact and ask questions, I've done that with Jeff. I spent an hour on the phone with him a couple weeks ago. He got me more calculations. It still didn't have anything different than he proposed the first time. So until he's proposing something that's in the same empty bed contact time as carbon, because otherwise you're talking about a treatment plant that's 4 times bigger.
Which makes sense.
60 by 40 or whatever.
Right.
It's 4 times that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I can't see that's feasible.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at it. We will
But since
follow
you
the
asked,
chain
I'll
of
get
command though.
Yeah.
I will send our questions to Jill.
Send me a copy, please.
I will,
Send
okay.
me a copy.
I'll send it to everybody involved here. And then at least everybody's looking at the same thing.
And then just real quick, switching gears to the Turkey Hill. It's ready to bid. It hasn't been advertised. We're waiting on a written waiver from the town for the fire alarms and the sprinklers. So I know we talked about it ready. We felt it was better to get that waiver in writing. So we expect it this week. And as soon as it is, we're all set to bid, right? So we'll just advertise it next week. If it takes 2 weeks, we'll advertise it the week after that. But we felt it was better to just make sure we have that written approval from the town.
I mean, other than that existing station, God forbid it goes down, because it's hard to fix the existing pumps and stuff in there, but there's not like a big deadline here that's pressing against us.
No,
other
it's
than-
just your fingers crossed. There's nobody telling you have to do this. This is your project. There is a grant deadline, but you're still well ahead of that. And as long as we bid it this month, the lead times for the winter with the equipment will work out that it'll get built next year.
Yeah.
And have we looked at waterproofing the cabinets?
I believe they have. I saw that on the list, and I'm pretty sure they have, but I will confirm it again.
What we looked at was curtains, actually.
Right.
Yeah, what's it,
Kind of
Freezing curtains.
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's actually a solid,
Oh,
like a
okay.
20 mil,
Like a welding kind of.
yeah, just you would slide it and
Right.
it was,
It's easy enough.
yeah, I was fine with that.
No, I know Tim
We
was
can get
looking
it out of
at
the way
it,
if we
so.
need to do anything.
The only problem is that if somebody forgets to pull it back in place, then it's worthless.
Yeah.
How would, how do you want us to get, I know there was a couple questions, do you want us to continue to just keep going through Ron? I mean, the emails on those, if that's
No,
right.
yeah, just.
Just wanna make sure the things that are being addressed, the answers are getting back somehow, somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll
I
keep
would go
that,
through.
that's what we've been doing, so we'll continue. That's all we had, unless you guys have other questions.
I think I'm good, you good? Everybody else,
Well, the one other
Somebody
thing,
wants
that?
I think on the, 7 and 8, I don't know if you'll notice it, because you had a question on dechlorring.
Oh, yeah.
So we do, if you look on that little, floor plan, there is a dechlor facility underneath the stairs, there's an area. It's a little bit hidden because it's underneath, when you look at the plan, the gradings here, we kind of drew a line, and said, dechlor facility below, we have it shown in the cross section, so it's not like, doesn't jump out at you, but we did add
Okay.
that area in there, that was one of the questions you had.
If
last
needed.
meeting. Yeah, right, yeah. And we're also gonna give you on that too, as we did with, 4 and 5, a wall to do pilot testing. So, and we're gonna give you a feed line for that and a discharge for that. So on 4 and 5, I don't know if you remember, we just gave a wall because we were worried about budget and we really didn't put all the columns in there. But there's a feed line over there to it, raw water feed line, and then there's a drain. So you can, just connect up to that, put columns up there, and if you wanna test different, GACs in the future and stuff like that, you're testing it with your raw water, everything's right there, and you can do it, right? So we're gonna try to give you that same type of wall at 7 and 8, so you can do that too.
Good.
So we thought that would be helpful for you guys.
I think Mike told me you were looking for Joel's resume from the last meeting too, so I brought a copy of that, and that you can distribute that at some point too.
That's it?
But, no,
Oh, well.
I think it was offered, we didn't say no.
Okay.
But, Mike, back to that water, we use for automation cabinets at work, sprinkler safe, control cabinets, and I don't think they're really that much more expensive because it's really just a gasket between the door and the
Yeah.
actual enclosure.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we looked at the cost of, but, I mean, even a couple $1,000s more cost there is certainly gonna be cheaper than
Yeah.
renting a pump for, how much? Did we pay for that thing, $30,000?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it was,
It was a five-figure
Yeah.
long one, so.
So sprinkler safe electrical cabinets?
Yeah,
Doesn't have,
different
yeah,
NEMA class,
Yeah.
whatever it is, that,
I would certainly look into
Yeah.
that, because like I said, that curtain is a nice idea, but you know how that works, people run in and out, they forget to put it back in place, and then it's just worthless.
Now, is that something we wanna look at for 4 and 5 that's already under construction?
I think
I
it
don't know
probably
if it
depends on the
costs it, but-
proximity too, cause these pumps
Yeah.
are fairly close to the panels versus
Right.
where you are with.
Okay, so it's not for the sprinklers, it's actually for the pumps? Okay,
It is.
okay.
And it
When
might
it's
be-
close to pressurized vessels or water
Okay,
lines
so,
or
so we have a separate room for that.
Yeah, you're in separate electrical.
Yeah.
because we're not doing sprinklers, right?
So we have sprinklers in there. We have sprinklers, just, the fire protection sprinklers.
But I wanted to get out of that.
We're trying to get out of it.
Right,
That's,
right.
that's
Well,
part of the whole,
That hasn't been
So
extended
if
yet.
we get that approved for Turkey Hill, then
we're taking it.
we'll take that
Yeah,
step.
they were designed in originally, because that was what we were told to do, and now we're trying to back out of it.
I mean, it's probably a good chance that sprinklers, could go off accidentally and cause flooding damage. Probably more chance of that than a fire.
In my work environment, we use sprinkler safe enclosures at any time.
And that's
Because the
even the
damage it
wires that,
causes is way higher
Yeah.
than the cost to upgrade those.
Yep.
In the first place.
it's It's waterproof where the wires pass through the cabinets and everything too, right?
Well, that's usually conduit, you know,
Yeah,
that's
conduit,
cryptic,
Yeah.
so that's usually not a problem so much.
I've
but,
seen control panels puddle on the top
Mhm.
and leak through, and, you know?
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So if we can get rid of the sprinklers on 4 and 5, then we won't worry about it. And if we,
Unless you're close to
maybe,
pressurized
maybe,
water.
then we,
yeah,
then we could look at it.
depending on where they are.
Yeah. I could also ask the contractor just for a cost on those. We at least have that up front.
I'm not sure that we'd inspect them, that's what I'm saying.
We didn't spec them, but I'm just wondering, you know, if we asked the contractor what the cost would be, and they say, hey, it's gonna be
Okay.
$10, and you go, yeah, sure.
Alright, yeah, and I'll look and see what they did.
You have authority
address
to
it.
accept that. if it's $10.
Well, anything's gonna go up, that's all.
Okay, we're still chugging.
Great, good to hear.
Okay,
Thanks for coming down.
alright, we'll keep seeing you.
Yeah. Bet you will.
See ya.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, we'll move along. Next on the agenda is Board of Commissioners to review the draft public notice of new PFAS MCLs as prepared by Commissioner Von Schoen.
And reworded by Commissioner.
Yeah, we got a couple edits on that. So what do we have here? Okay, we have Wolf's original draft.
I think the third paragraph is harder to read, much harder to read now, so I think we need to scale that back a little bit.
We've got three versions, right? We've got a markup that I marked up, and then we've got one that looks like Jill actually added the numbers into the table. So I guess to step back, the point of this was to send out a notice to our customers, just to make them aware that these regulations have changed. They're gonna be effective October 1st, which is only a couple weeks away. And for a year, we're gonna be sampling the wells. And by October 1st of 2020 is when we're gonna determine if the wells are out of compliance or not, technically. That's my understanding of the regulations. We got 1 year of sampling, and if that 1 year of sampling, the average exceeds the maximum contaminant levels, then a year from now, we would need to start planning to take some action. Obviously, we are already in the planning phase because the warrant articles were approved and required us to do treatment designs, which is what we're doing right now. We are proceeding with treatment designs as if we're gonna have lag tanks, because now that the MCLs are going to be in effect, we know based on looking back at our water that the levels in our water are very likely going to be higher than the MCLs that are going into effect. So we are pursuing the treatment that Underwood's is presenting to us does include compliance with all of our wells in the future, assumed to be above those maximum contaminant levels. And it's ironic, I think, I was gonna ask Jill, definitely the average of our last year's worth of PFOA at well 2 averages exactly to 11.98, which is exactly the 12 MCL, ironically. So we're right at the MCL on that, but it's kind of a moot point going forward, because we are going to treat all of these wells as if they are essentially out of compliance with our design. Based on our design, they're gonna be out of compliance with the MCLs, but in the interim, before all these treatment plants come online, we just kind of wanted to advise our customers that these new MCLs are taking effect. What does that mean? And to notify them that if they want to take any of their own measures for treating the water in their homes until all of our treatment plants are online. We can just advise them that this is what's happening. So, I don't know. What do we do from here as far as getting a final draft on this?
There's definitely two edits we need to do. The one is in the last paragraph before the table. We have changed all the reference to current and upcoming MCLs because now it's past October 1st.
Right.
So it should be changed on there also.
That's
the
what
following chart. Okay. So the following chart allows you to compare previous with current MCLs or with the new MCLs. So that should be a change we need to make. And then I would like to see units of measure in the average PFAS results portion of the table. We don't know if that's apples, cherries, or parts petroleum.
Well, we've got PPT here.
Well, on the MCL end, yeah, but not on our.
Sorry, I missed that. You want to put PPTs after all the results too?
Well, maybe if we just put it up in the header,
Yeah.
average PFAS results August till July in PPT. At least that was clear. Like I said, personally, I think the third paragraph to me reads now. The rest I'm fine with, but this one to me reads. I glazed over when I was in the second or third paragraph sentence. So I think we need to take the complexity out of the paragraph. And maybe we can take that offline and make another proposal. Well, we kind of need to vote on it now, right? So we can get it out.
Whatever the other two.
Do you guys have any suggestions or anything else?
Well, decide on what you want to put in it, let's get it out.
Yeah, okay. You and me want to kind of put something together and get it over to Jill and Ron to see if you have any comments, and then see if we can get this thing out of here. We want to run this by Craig, and I think they kind of gave us the okay on that, didn't they? Go ahead and send this out. Tom Burrows.
Knowledge. He just told you what they were doing for testings. We're doing it.
Right. So one of the other comments I had, I think what I want to reference, there's a link, I believe. You remember, this came out in our packet a couple of months ago. It's a DES FAQ about the MCLs, and I would like to link it to this, because the way this letter is written, we're just going to link to des.nh.gov. That doesn't tell the reader anything. There's a billion things they can look at on that website. So I think if we can find this direct link, it would be better, because this is specifically addressing if customers have questions about the new MCLs, this is what DES is recommending. And, you know, one of their questions in here is, my water is supplied to me by public water system, is it safe to drink? And it basically says in here that customers can consider doing their own treatment on their own if they want to in the interim. So I think this is directly coming from DES, so I think it's good to cite that. The other reference in here is it sends them to mpdwater.org for more information, but I don't know that there really is any more information on our website. Again, it's just, it sends you to the home page. It's nothing, you know. I think we're sending our customers to a specific place on a website that answers their questions.
So they don't have to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you just send someone to the home page, it's like, all right, well, what do I do here? I got like 100 different selections I can look at.
We put up a notice back July 28th, right after the meeting, and it went out to notifications of, well, some of the
Maybe you
notifications
can
already
link.
been sent out, so.
Maybe we can link.
What's that?
You didn't open it.
Yeah, I did actually.
It's been recently, because I got the log sheet right here, it says who opened it, who didn't.
So I think if we can just get more specific on the links, that, so they click on it, goes right to the link, back to DES.
I think it's right it's right on the homepage, but I can look at that.
So maybe to make this short, if we were to replace, in my opinion, on the third paragraph, the sentence, the new PFAS MCL regulations indicate that compliance with PFAS regulations will be based on whether future PFAS sampling results indicate PFAS concentrations above the new MCLs for the average of 4 consecutive quarters. If we replace those 3 lines with water supplies are complying to the new regulation until sampling shows contamination levels above the MCLs for the average of 4 consecutive quarters. And maybe add the October 1st date to that sentence. It's kind of the same message, but much shorter. So if we were to change, if we were to replace that and say, after October 1st, 2019, water supplies are compliant to the new regulation until sampling shows contamination levels above the MCLs for the average of 4 consecutive quarters.
Well, PFAS.
But it's not just PFAS. Well, yeah, PFAS, yep.
I think that another word is something not to be used.
Which one? I think that we're past that.
Yeah.
We can use it.
So it's a little late catching up here. Is there a lot to be changed there, or is it?
No, it's switching one sentence over. But I can say, I just wanted to, before we take a vote out, figured we're going to sentence here quick.
Okay. That's the job here.
If you were to replace on the third paragraph, the third sentence, the new PFAS MCL regulations indicate that compliance with PFAS regulations will be based on whether future PFAS sampling results indicate PFAS concentrations above the new MCLs for the average of 4 consecutive quarters. If you replace that whole thing with my original draft, the second sentence, water supplies are compliant to the new regulation until sampling shows contamination or PFAS levels above the MCLs for the average of 4 consecutive quarters after October 1st, 2019. And it's kind of the same message, but a little bit easier to digest.
Are you keeping the last sentence too?
No, because that's covered. If average future PFAS sample results do exceed new MCLs, water supplier, we would be sure, but water suppliers would need to begin planning for treatment to reduce regulated PFAS compound. It would be the same. I would be fine with it.
That's fine. We just want to work with Jill on the final wording on that. I think we could maybe still entertain a motion tonight to agree to finalize this letter and issue it with, ideally, I don't know if we have enough time, it would be good to go out before October 1st, because that's when the MCLs go into effect.
Are we doing a townwide
Regulation.
mailing?
I believe so.
A lot of people don't understand the idea.
I mean, it's not a problem. Once the letter's done, I can take care of the rest. Because they've already got it set up, the paper graphics for townwide mailings.
What's the cost for such a letter?
Is it $6 or $7 grand for the last one that we did? I have to go back and look and look at that.
I don't
Would
know
it be
that
cheaper
much,
to
but
do the journal?
I might be.
But the
The
one
Merrimack
for the
Journal?
town.
Again, you're only gonna hit, you're not gonna hit the customers,
Well, I guess I mean, when's the next set of
Let me
bills
check
come
on the
out?
pricing first before, because
yeah.
if it's,
Well, how many households do receive one of these then?
I don't know, because it goes to all boxes too, it goes to PO boxes and mailboxes. But actually,
Yeah, but it's multiple grains, I'm sure.
I can go look at the rest, one, if you guys want to continue on, you can grab that so you can make a decision tonight.
Yeah, you wanna do that? That'd be great.
I got keys up there.
You wanna jump real quick to, item number 3, Board of Commissioners to review PFAS sampling in the Continental Boulevard area. So, looks like we got a couple of, there were 2 monitoring wells, Ron, that were sampled,
Yes.
and looks like one is at 6 Dobson Way, Circle, whatever that road is.
Yep.
The other one is 18 Continental. Where is 18 Continental exactly?
It's the CPM building, it's CPM. So you go down over the back hill into the,
Yeah.
you're down at the,
It's the first building that was built out there.
you're off in the woods, you can actually see well two right from there,
Right.
down the bottom of the hill.
So the results are, the monitoring well in Dobson Way was, PFOA was at 45 parts per trillion. And the monitoring well behind 18 Continental Boulevard was at 23 parts per trillion for PFOA. PFOS for both wells were less than 4, and PFHXS and PFNA were basically less than 1.5. So, as typical with the contamination, is PFOA is the one that is exceeding the 12 MCL. Basically, all the others are below the proposed MCLs, the new MCLs. So I'm not really sure what this implies, except for the fact that it is higher at 18 Continental at 23. It is higher than well 2, because well 2 generally is between 8 and 18.
Yeah.
I think well 2 was at 18 parts per trillion in July, PFOA.
So these were done all the same day as well, so the same,
Oh, they were?
yes, the same date that we tested, well, two was, when these results came back, that was an 11, that's average. You know what, I'm sorry, I don't,
So these are averages in the table for our wells, but these are just one-time samples for
correct. But
Dobson.
I want to say we were under 12, if I remember correctly. I was actually looking at that, that was the sample, but it's not.
What was under 12?
I believe well two was under 12 in the last,
The last one?
yeah, I believe, but I'd have to,
I don't know if I saw the last one. So that would have been what was collected in August?
yes.
Repeat that. Been a long day. Well, 2 was?
I believe it was under 12, or right around 12. I was actually, when I looked at this, I thought that was the read, but these are averages.
Somebody else said.
But it was well 2 was 18 in July,
Do you remember what well two was the last sample?
PFOA. You have August already?
No, we just did them on the 29th of August. So not back yet.
Oh, this was that, so this would have been,
That's round 1 from
July.
July.
What was it,
This is the only round of sampling event, so those are the actual numbers.
what was well two in July?
I don't know.
It was 18.
That's an average, so I don't know.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was thinking of
Yeah,
that.
right here. You want to see it?
Just to go back, I'm gonna, I'll send you guys a quote tomorrow because we got too many variations. We did postcards, so we did the CCR that was like 6 pages. So it's all over the place. I'll get you an actual number tomorrow.
Ballpark? Postcards are how much?
600,
And the 6 pages were?
I think that was the 6 to 7 grand.
Okay. So
So
we're talking about,
we're all over the place.
Postcard sounds good.
we're still talking about a couple
That's gonna be
thousand.
some really small type.
Yeah, I know.
Or maybe just make it a bullet point,
Yeah.
write it down.
I didn't realize it was that thousands of dollars to send that out. It's a lot of people.
Did you say you had the?
I don't have them with me, but I can tell you I'm 100% positive July PFOA results for well 2 was 18 parts per trillion. It stuck out in my mind because that's the highest it ever was by a far double,
Okay.
almost 50% higher. Because I think the highest I've seen before was like 12, and it went from like 8 in June to 18 in July. And that's a big leap. And it stuck out at me like a red flag. Which is why I think it definitely made sense to test these monitoring wells around here to see what else is going on out here. And so this would have been done in July as well, correct?
Yes, these were done on the same date.
Right. So it is higher, it's 23 at Continental, and it was 18 at well 2. I don't know if that means anything, I don't know if that means there are additional sources there or anything, but, you know, and it's even higher at Dobson, 6 Dobson, that's 45.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit higher.
And that's an average for the.
So-
No, well,
45, or is that just that one sample?
that was the first time we've done it.
Oh, okay.
So we
So
just
the ones
started
in
doing,
blue are just
Yeah.
one-time sample, the ones above that are averages. But I mean, it could indicate aerial deposition being further out than anyone expected in the past too, because these monitoring wells were probably not included in DES's analysis of groundwater management zones and things, right?
For 2 years.
Where is it stops on the bucket?
You know,
it's actually it's right in front of,
Dog in the box.
it's right in front, it's right in front of, Sweet Ginger's.
Emergency care,
Okay.
Yeah, it's like in a little grass strip where you park.
Gotcha.
state liquor store.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, only 18.
18? It was 18. All right, so, well, that information's available and maybe it'll be some use in the future with,
Now, is this something that the board would like us to keep testing monthly, those 2 sites, or?
It's gonna get tough on winter going down that hill.
Slight.
God.
I don't know about monthly, I don't know, quarterly, what do you guys think? You looking for the results?
No.
I don't know.
I mean, we could do it monthly as we can. I mean, it's down a steep embankment on the backside here, right down to the water, so it's not gonna be safe to go down when it's slippery out, but.
Do you, how do you get those samples, with a baler or? Yeah. So, I think monthly's probably more than we need, but it would be good to establish if there's some kind of trend going on over there, I don't know, maybe quarterly?
We also talked about doing instead of doing, or with PFAS, doing the sodium and chloride
Yeah.
over Dobson.
Mhm. Yeah.
We monitor them, but we don't have anything to go by.
Yeah, it'd be good to start building like a history on, is it fluctuating and just, you know, averaging a steady number, or is it in an uptrend, you know?
But aside from the labor to go down there, this is just part of, or are these additional samples that we have to pay extra for?
Yeah.
They are, right? Okay.
That's why I don't know. It's not much of a cost savings if we only do like the standard, 8 or 12 PFAS parameters.
No, went from 300 to 325.
Yeah, so we're not gonna save a lot of money there.
So this would be $600 a month? No, $900 a month? $1,000 a month?
Yeah, the Turkey Hill booster was more of a, just wanted to see what was there, like how the blend was.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, cause,
No.
but at least these two monitoring wells, I mean, we probably have other monitoring wells we might wanna look at too, but I don't know. Without having a clear purpose for the data, other than establishing trends and things. I don't know, I think since we already got these two samples on these two monitoring wells, maybe if we do those quarterly.
Why those two?
Good question.
Because there was the old building that used to be over there. I know that they did, I believe they used that in their process over there. That was one of the, TI, it was on the list, remember that list from
So I
Safe?
thought, okay.
It's from DES. Just to kind of
what's
see,
happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how does this deviate from the well testing that DES does?
That they require, they're going to require?
DS isn't testing anything anymore,
Yeah, I don't,
that I'm aware of. We're,
and I don't even think they
Sure,
ever,
they stopped doing that.
yeah,
I don't even know if they ever tested that one.
it's all on our lap now. Thank you very much.
So those tests were just done out of curiosity to see, I mean, we're in an
So-
industrial area, so it's not like it was required by DES or required by anybody, it was just more of a fact-finding mission.
Let me ask this, have any of our other monitoring wells ever been tested for any PFAS?
I believe DES did some testing around well 7 and 8.
In 4 and 5.
In 4, yes, 4 and 5 as well.
I'm kinda more interested in wells 2 and 3, I think. Maybe, I know there's like some right out here on Green's Pond over here, right? There's one sticking up by, the entrance to the old atrium.
Yep.
Maybe it makes sense to test a couple more different monitoring wells, at least.
So, say,
I'm trying to see if we get a big smoking gun here that we don't see, cause we haven't tested, you know? And then, at least now we know, okay, this is at 45, this is at 23, alright, it might go from 45 to 55 to 35, but, you know, is there a well somewhere in the middle of all of us that we haven't tested that could be 100 something? I don't know.
Well, we've talked to Emery and Garrett, and that's why we've got monitoring wells in back of Dunkin' Donuts for sodium chloride,
Yeah.
de-icing agents. I think they'd have a better idea of what would be good ones to test besides the ones right on Continental.
yeah, maybe we could just, there aren't that many monitoring wells, right?
It'd be good to maybe
Yeah.
get a picture of where
Quite a few.
they are, cause I don't think,
Well, we did.
I don't know where they
We looked at
are.
it last year, that there was a map that you guys showed us once, and we actually went through the data once that we had. How many are there, do you recall?
There's 16 with divers and one with diver main divers, and then there's even for one with 10, 20, 30, 40, at least 40. Yeah, we have about 10 around each one of those sites.
Maybe you wanna talk to Jamie about this? See if it makes sense to attack certain ones. Instead, I can't even have a picture in my mind where they all located, so. You know, maybe we better look at what could possibly be suspected sources and pick the ones that are closer to those suspected sources.
I talked to him, put
Yeah.
a proposal, and we've got the layers of where the monitoring wells are and stuff, it's not that difficult to do.
So have him like, maybe we can all agree on which ones we wanna sample and then, but we'll still sample, right? Because can we sample these?
Yes.
As opposed to having Jamie sample? Is that something you think you'd be okay with, or you prefer to have him do it?
No, we sampled
Yeah,
these.
yeah.
We actually, we've done these twice. And we're gonna be probably going out like next week, so we can pick 2 different ones if you'd like. And do a couple different ones each time and kind of like steer us back to an area that we wanna
Yeah.
focus on in a direction, get a trend going. Maybe it may turn back to be these 2.
Yeah.
But maybe we limit our testing for PFAS more for the summer months. And our testing for sodium chloride more for the winter months, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, the trends go up for PFAS in summer, right? Because we draw in from a wider,
You're not getting pollution
Aquifer
from as
area,
much,
right? Right.
yeah, from as much precipitation.
and I'm assuming fluoride is going up over the wintertime or the springtime, right?
Spring. When's our highest?
But again, those might be discussions with Jamie.
Yeah, we could have, we'll go
Maybe be a little more selective, don't just blindly test across the board, but it would probably be a good idea to develop this to selectively.
I think it's important at least to, you know, start looking at some of these monitoring wells to know, you could tell us where we didn't think we had sources that we might, you know. It could tell us that we don't, and then it would lead us to believe maybe it is more this area of deposition. So maybe we should,
Curious what the numbers are after everything's set up and going with filtration.
Yeah, I can talk to Jamie and then put together some suggestions and stuff.
yeah, just tell them we're interested in getting information on our existing monitoring wells. Would we recommend or priority? Which one's to sample?
Sodium testing is cheap, I would assume,
I
right?
think it is, yeah.
Is that?
Sodium
fluoride.
testing is cheap, right?
Okay.
Want to go back to
Yeah, so we jumped ahead on that one while Jill was getting the information for us. But as far as this MCL mailing,
So we're working with Wolf on that, and I'll put the pricing and send it out so you can see what it looks like. There's a couple different ways, you know, that it could be where it's a 2-page, if you can get it basically on one page with a little bit in the back, it's a folder with an address on it. So we'll just look into that and we can figure it out, we know it's going out.
right?
I'm sure we can get that one.
Would it,
We try to.
if we're trying to minimize the cost of this thing, which we obviously always are, it makes sense to just have a quick notice about, hey, these new MCLs, these will affect you. If you want to find more information, click on a link to our website and have more detailed information there.
Isn't the whole point of the letter for people that
Yeah,
do
so you don't
computers?
have to do that, yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
All right. All
We
right,
can work with it. Frank's really good at what he does.
We'll get it out to one page.
so, okay, we were talking about, do we need a motion to proceed with this today? With the intent that Wolf can work with Jill to get a final draft issue? Is that okay with you?
Not to exceed $6,000.
What's that?
Not to exceed $6,000.
You could do a lot better than that, that was the big one.
Or do we want to wait and have more information on this? The only thing I was thinking is, I don't know if it's possible for this to go out even before October 1st anyway, but
Absolutely is.
you think so?
It's very fast.
It would be great. It would be good.
I think it shows MPD is more proactive in getting the word out before the effective date that the regulations go into effect, which is October 1st. So, if you
I'll make a
guys-
motion.
I was gonna say, if you want to do it, go ahead and make a motion.
Motion for the Board of Commissioners to approve sending a public notice of new PFAS MCLs by letter to all what? Not households, consumers?
Mailboxes, post office boxes. Property owners, that's, he's just got a mailing list.
To all customers?
Well, we go to, actually, we go to other,
Yeah,
not
just
just
everybody,
customers, so just residents, Merrimack residents.
businesses.
Okay, to Merrimack residents and businesses. Pending final edits by myself and Joe.
Second.
with maximum budget of $5,000?
No.
I thought we need to have a dollar amount in every decision we make. No? Every decision, okay, all right.
All right, motion made by Wolf, seconded by Joe. Any last comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed or abstaining? No, that carries 500. 400. Keep thinking Tony's here and not. In spirit. In spirit, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So we're done with 3, we're moving on to number 4. Board of Commissioners to review draft letter to property owners in the wellhead protection area regarding the sodium and chloride reduction project. So basically what this is just for the public that's watching. Several months ago, we had Emery and Garrett plot our sodium chloride levels for all our wells going back quite a number of years, some of them back into before 2012 even, I think. And it was kind of an alarming trend when you look at the graph that the sodium and chloride levels were consistently increasing. I know there was an effort that Emery and Garrett did back in, was it 2012? They did a salt study, they did a mass balance, how much salt is going into our wellhead protection areas. There was a public education effort and all these other things. But despite all of that effort, the numbers are still increasing. So obviously this is a concern because we're going to be spending a major investment on treating these wells for PFAS. And it would be, we'd be remiss if we did not consider other issues that could render the wells in trouble. So we got to protect that PFAS treatment, PFAS treatment investment. So anyways, Ron did a first draft of a letter to send out to property owners to try and ask them to reduce their salt applications. So we got a couple of drafts that we can look at here. So I took Ron's draft, I did add a couple of paragraphs in here, change a couple things around. But
That's prolific.
One of the things I wanted to add is I think it would be a big impact if we attached the graphs of the sodium and chloride to the letter. I think if you look at those graphs and you see the trend just increasing, I think it's going to make more of a pronounced impact on the reader. And it's not just lip service, just not just words here. They can actually see the effects of road salt. And it's not just everybody that owns the sites, it's, DOT, it's the town, and we just got to get the word out. But this is a good start, I think. So I'll leave it at that. I don't know if you guys want to have any comments on what do you want to see in here besides these markups here that I issued. If there's anything in here you want to add, anything you want to delete.
Something about sending a letter out
Sending a letter out
to everybody.
Right. Now, this would be only going to properties that are in the Aquifer Protection District that are not grandfathered.
That's correct.
And the way that works is when this,
That are not.
that are not,
No,
that are grandfathered. I'm sorry, that are grandfathered.
Yeah.
So new properties that are being developed have a salt restriction.
Restrictions, yes.
But properties that were in existence before, is it a bylaw that went into effect?
I wouldn't say it's not a bylaw, it's just when they started placing the restrictions, so if,
Right.
they developed prior to that, they didn't receive the restrictions.
So right now, this is really being kind of governed and policed through the planning board and the conservation commission, right?
Well, it's,
Because I see the discussion of the planning board and the conservation commission when new developments come into our aquifer protection districts, that they always ask questions and confirm that the low salt, the road salt alternatives are on the plans, the construction plans.
a lot of that comes,
And we have a review of it as well.
we have a review as well, but they're pretty well in tune with it, and is saying, being in the aquifer protection area, they know,
Right,
pretty much know to put these on, but it does come from us as a conditional review as well, that we'd like to see.
right. So the text that I add, if you want to kind of look at it, is, let's see, Merrimack Village District is embarking on a significant investment. I think I just mentioned all that to you guys. But I did write in here, in 2012, MVD implemented a road salt reduction effort, yet sodium and chloride concentrations have continued to rise. Please refer to the charts of sodium and chloride concentration versus time for our active supply wells. MVD is taking this proactive approach now to avoid the need for MVD to implement its own mandatory road salt restriction bylaws or mandatory road salt bans that would restrict road salt applications for all properties within MVD wellhead protection areas. So, I mean, ideally, I would like this to go out to all properties in the wellhead protection areas, because I don't know if we're sure if even the ones that are required to do this remember that they should be doing this, because it's kind of hard to police all of that. But maybe we can start now with just the grandfathered sites and do something later. I don't know. But I mean, I got my edits on here, and if anybody else wants to take a crack at them or decide not to use them,
I
whatever.
have very short ones, like small ones, that I can give you now if you want to. The first paragraph on the second page. The additional cost to treat or remove sodium and chloride from our drinking water, if required, is cost prohibitive, full stop. Therefore, it is imperative, just to break that a little bit apart, it is imperative that we as an entire town protect our drinking water and protect this investment for our future, full stop. You're writing like a German, you know that?
Really?
Yes. I've been told that I'm
You're
alright.
French German.
No, elephant sentence. Otherwise, we risk having to shut down any wells. Well, the any doesn't fit anymore. Otherwise, we risk having to shut down wells due to elevated sodium and chloride, comma, if, and the if needs lowercase. Just trying to break that up.
Mhm.
If that works.
She's got another copy with those changes already made,
Right,
so we might be able to read it easier.
yeah,
Right there.
yeah, same thing though.
Can you read me that sentence again, Wolf? Otherwise we risk having to shut down any wells?
Having to shut down,
Wells,
just get rid of any.
right,
Yeah.
due to elevated sodium chloride, comma, and then if needs to be lowercase.
It is lowercase.
It is?
Oh, it's not on the red line one,
Okay.
I fixed that one.
Okay.
Right, there you go. Actually, that's it. I just wasn't sure with the versus, if that shouldn't be over. Chloride concentrations over time, not versus time.
Yeah, that could be.
Might be a little bit less technical.
So it says the second sentence, no, the second sentence, please refer to the charts of sodium and chloride concentrations overtime instead of versus.
That's it.
So one last thing I was wondering is, again, referring the reader to the MVD homepage. Is there anything on our homepage that, what are they looking at when they go to our homepage? Why are we referring them?
Well, we could,
What do we have there?
my thought was to keep it shorter. Instead of putting charts and stuff, we could actually send them to our website. We could actually have,
Yeah,
you know, a link or what, not a link, but a piece that gives them all this information. The charts, the study, you can actually do links to New Hampshire DES fact sheets, and rather than have a whole bunch of stuff in the letter, just make it a
yeah.
straightforward letter, ask them to go.
Should be as short as possible, otherwise they won't read it.
The only thing about the charts is, I think most of the people, if they don't see that, they're just gonna throw this away. And hopefully if they take the 2 seconds and flip to the chart and see that chart, they're gonna go, wow. Cause that's what I did when I saw the charts. And if it wasn't right in my face, I'm just gonna throw this away. So that's my only point of having you can embed the chart in
I
the
was
thing.
gonna say, yeah, I would, yeah.
Maybe right here.
No, even in the text here, depending on how large they are, and just label them and refer to them further down in the test. Just like in a magazine. Keep them rather small.
Yeah.
Take all the fluff out of it. Just keep, no big agenda or anything like that. Just embed it further up.
But still, it's definitely a good idea to have a link on our homepage to salt application, I don't know what you wanna call it, if it's something that's gonna be put on our website. It's not there now, right?
No,
So it's something we can add a section to
Can you
refer
put
to.
also put on Facebook?
Sure. And as we gather more information, I know Jamie's got a proposal coming into us to kind of start go through everything we did back in 2012 and do that and more. And as he starts building more information, that's probably where we can put things on our website. So I'm almost thinking this might be a good, almost an annual or every 2 years or something update to a recurring thing that we want to send out to keep reminding people. And again, I don't know how much this is going to cost. There's less recipients in this than there. It's not like we're sending this to the whole town.
Right.
Have you already did the database of the addresses?
Yep.
You do have that?
Mhm.
Because I know NRPC got involved with.
Yep.
Good. All right, so we've already gone that far. We might as well finish this off with that. Do you want to have maybe another? Is this important to get this thing out before our next meeting, or is this something we want to get out? Maybe we can take another look at it at our next meeting.
Tell them about time.
Most of the companies are right now getting their contractors ready for winter, booking them, so
So time
probably
is,
sooner the better.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they put said last time, they had already pre-bought the stuff that they were using.
Yeah. You guys are sending it out, so I'm asking you if you
We
think you have the time.
Probably should do it soon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wanna wait till the next meeting, but we should.
All right.
Do we have the recipients identified?
Yeah, she said there's a
NRPC did a whole database for us.
National Regional Planning Commission that we're involved with.
Okay.
Remember the figures, the maps they generated? They must have got addresses from those properties within those maps.
Do we
All
know
right.
how many recipients are we talking about ballpark?
Didn't even look at it honestly, they just went in and pulled up, the names based on, they updated their data of the towns that their assessing database or something.
But nowhere near as many as the other mailing, right?
No.
Oh, no.
Right. Okay. What's your big, do you want to make a move?
Yeah, if you guys think you can get it out before the next meeting, then we should probably, have a motion to wrap this up and,
Do you wanna see another draft of this with a chart?
yeah,
What are we doing for a chart? Cause isn't there's one for each one of the well areas, right?
there is,
Take the worst one.
well, 3, if I recall, was the worst. Yeah, maybe that
The
was.
worst one?
Yeah, sure, I mean,
It's kind of alarmist.
It's the kind of the
But
point
it's
we're trying to
reality.
get, right? Is you're gonna send them, hey, we have no impact. Can you
No,
do
I
this
say send
anyway?
them all.
Why am I thinking there's a chart that has all of them on it?
Oh, I know.
Did Jamie
That'd
do
be good.
something where he compiled them together or something, maybe?
I'm seeing
So you're
something
just
with a
saying-
bunch of,
Look at Jay, I'm gonna talk to him anyways, and see what he's got.
well, he has the data, it shouldn't take him more than half an hour to create one for all, as long as he has the data.
I mean, I think he gave us these months ago.
But then,
If I'm not
it's enough
mistaken.
for sodium.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah,
Well,
he had a
quarterlies.
special bind, different
I don't know
binder.
if I have them with me. They were sodium and chloride and everything, iron, manganese, all the 12 PFAS, all that stuff. It was all 8.5 by
There
11.
was a long, hold on.
yeah.
But he also had 8.5 by 11s of each well.
No.
And the one that stood out significantly was well 3, sodium and chloride, one of the two. I think he had both on the same chart. It's just sodium chloride chart I'm talking about, because that's pertinent to this, I don't need anything else. Do you wanna see if you can revise this?
Yep.
Find that graph, or I can find that graph?
I may just talk to Jamie, see
All right.
if it's something he has, and to make it, maybe it's, you just do years, just a couple of years, just to kind of shorten the graph up as well.
If you send him the edited document, I'm wondering if he did the graph, he can probably take the graph and embed it right into this Word file for you. You know, because he generated graphs.
Yep.
That would probably be the easiest way to get what you want done.
Yeah, I can definitely,
Yeah.
we'll get another draft out,
Okay,
just email it off to you guys.
great, I appreciate it. Looks like you guys put it together just fine, so thanks for that. All right. Want to move on to item number 5? Board of Commissioners, well, do we need a vote on that first, or is that, we're all in agreement to go ahead with that consult letter? That's proceed as we discussed. You want to make it official? Yeah. Anybody want to make a motion?
Take the same one as earlier.
As the chair, I generally don't make motions, so that's why I'm looking at someone.
Okay, motion to send the, public notice to all, residents and businesses
We'll have
in the
protection
water
area
protection area
regarding sodium chloride use.
regarding sodium chloride use.
Second.
Motion made by Wolf, second by Joe. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or what else? 4-0. Thanks. Okay, item number 5, Board of Commissioners to discuss proposed emergency interconnect water purchase policy. First reading table from July 15th and August 19th.
We did talk after the last meeting, and I mentioned that the one thing I kind of wanted to achieve with that is that, we don't get surprised by how much $4,000 water bills, whatever it was the last year or before. So, and I think I had suggested maybe one line that we can add to not make this more complicated than it needs to be, is that if that decision is being made, that notification goes out within 2 business days to the commissioners. I think that's what I suggested. Because I understand, the original request was to have a metric in place that leads to that decision, yea or nay, right? But, you explained that that's not always feasible because there's so many different factors and influences, and it's a little bit of gut feeling thing too, right? And I appreciate that. Sometimes you have to do, nobody can foretell the weather and vacation and everything, so sometimes you gotta go with your guts, with your experience, with you. So, but I did say that the whole point of this policy was that we're not getting a big bill like that raked up without knowing about it, right? And being on a budget. So if we keep it as simple as saying notification of the commissioners within, I don't know, 3 business days, something like that.
Yeah, I would definitely like to know when that happens. Maybe we could just add that in there.
What about when he puts it on for hydrant testing? Will you be notified?
No, I think that's operational.
Suspicious.
And it's
I
short,
would-
right?
It's short term. And I'm-
It's about
Still have to pay for it.
Yeah.
what we paid last year for that.
It's like over 60.
It was,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So that's kind of, I just wanted to have a flag that goes on.
So this document,
So on,
well, I was just gonna, go ahead. I was
so
just gonna-
you want that under procedure, so it says the superintendent shall be responsible for making the determination as to when any interconnections will be opened.
And notify the Board of Commissioners within 3 business days.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
So 2 before
Yeah.
that, makes more sense for the weekend.
Sure. Well, business days. No?
Business days?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how long did we have it out for, how long did we have it open last year? To rack up $70,000.
I'd have to check it, but it was almost like a month at a time.
Okay, so 3 days aren't gonna kill it?
No.
Okay, that's all I was.
Yeah, I remember there were charges a couple, 3 months or so, like I don't know if it was continuous. Might have shut it off here and there.
It was shut off, but it for the most part, it ran
You know, we haven't even opened it all summer, right?
all this year.
That next sentence under there says, in the case of drought, every effort will be made by superintendent to increase enforcement on even water policy. Is there any other cases other than drought that you would still, I'm just thinking, why are we limiting that just to drought? Is there,
Oh, so,
like if a well went down, then you would still, we lose well 2 or well 3 or something. Even if we're not in drought, you would still want to take more enforcement of water too, right?
You get it already in the procedure for emergency conditions.
So if we just take out in case of drought, in case of emergency conditions, and then just the flow.
Yeah, or just say every effort will be made just to keep it that way. Just get rid of the first.
Okay.
In the case of drought, just get rid of that. Because whenever we open that connection, other than flushing, is an emergency basically. So under
Right.
that condition, I think we would need to make every effort to enforce the occupant water more significantly. I'm just trying not to limit us just to drought, you know what I mean? Because even worse than a drought, if we lost well 2, well 3, worse conditions. Then we definitely would probably have to do even more than odd even
right.
at that point. And on the first paragraph under policy, the last sentence, it says MVD system 4 to augment water supply is needed. You want to just get rid of 4. so.
I do. I didn't see it now. I didn't see it before, yep. At 4-2, I was kicking it old school there.
If anybody else is good with any other comments, then we could move to approve this.
Right, I guess I'll move again since that was my idea.
Yeah.
Motion to approve emergency interconnect water purchase policy as presented.
With us.
With
Motion made by Wolf,
Second.
second by Ken. Any other comments, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions? 4-0-0 on that one. Great. What is that here? Item number 6, Board of Commissioners to hear update on private well hookups funded by Single Lane. We're only 15 minutes behind, almost 20 minutes behind, so.
That one's really brief. Was out there today, and they were actually finishing up some work on Pearson Road, and I believe they should be actually starting on it. They moved some equipment over to Norwood and I always forget the name of the other road. Bridgewood, thank you. That should be starting up this week as well, so.
Good.
They saved the tough area for last.
We're so much fun.
Do you have any questions at this point, Kathy, since that's your neighborhood at all?
Yeah, one of the questions I had came from one of my neighbors, actually. How will they receive notification of when they're gonna do the inter-house connect?
I believe they should have all your emails, I believe, in that.
So I can tell them, anticipate getting an email sometime.
Yeah,
Get
they'll
an
make,
email,
and they'll
let
schedule
them know.
appointments, yeah.
They'll say,
Okay.
say I'm gonna be on your road next week or something, and
Okay.
then offer some times.
Okay, perfect. Good, thank you.
Great. All right, good. Thanks for the update. Anybody else have questions or anything, or other information? We can move on. All right, we'll move on to item number 7. Board of Commissioners discuss a possible ribbon cutting ceremony at wells 4 and 5, and thank you letter to the Drinking Water Groundwater Trust Fund. I know this is something that was carried over from previous. I'm not sure where we left the ribbon cutting thing, but did anybody have any other ideas on that? Do we want to entertain that, or is at this point, is it kind of past the construction kickoff, or?
I don't think it's passed. My understanding was they said we could do it, and it really haven't broken ground yet for foundations,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
We've done some clearing and stuff.
And the question is it a small ceremony or is it? I was approached by more than one person actually that basically are very excited about this. They feel that this is something tangible, there's something hopeful, and they would like to celebrate that. And they have basically suggested something like the DPW does like the open garage kind of thing, open house or what they call it, where you can see the equipment and stuff. And they asked, why are we never doing something like that at the MVD? I don't know if we want to do that every year, but we certainly have reason to celebrate with this thing. So, and I just want to throw it out there as an idea. Do we want to entertain that? Do we just want to?
I like the idea, but I think that should be something when Ward 5 is up and running. It'd be kind of nice to have an open house for that. And then they can explain the process, how it's gonna take so they have a visual,
You can walk them through even if you want.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing at that point. I mean, I think right now, my personal opinion is a ribbon cutting ceremony, you're cutting the ribbon and somebody takes a shovel and moves some dirt. And I'd rather, if we're gonna spend the time and money, I don't, when it's operational, I think that's to me is more of a celebration. It's like, hey, we finally have wells 4 and 5 that's been shut down for all these years, it's up and running. I think it's more involved more in the community who's ever interested in coming out. Ribbon cutting ceremony to me is almost this bunch of people getting their picture taken. And my personal opinion is you might have somebody there that's the reason why you're having the wells filtered. I'd rather not give them an opportunity to have their picture taken. I'd rather have an open house for the community to come and see what was, and then they have an idea from that, they have an idea what's for wells 2 and 3, 7 and 8, and I just think it'd be more of a positive at that point, right? Because then there's actually something actually working. There's actually something as a net result.
Sure.
But I agree with that point about, the message we're trying to get out is, hey, we're finally breaking ground on this, and we're proud of the fact that we're breaking ground on it. To me, I see the attendance being MVD, Underwood, the contractor, and probably members of the Drinking Water Groundwater Trust Fund. And I don't think I'd want anybody else there. I think that would be the audience. I mean, I really wouldn't want St. Gobain, I don't think has a place there. I would just leave it to that group if we're thinking of doing it. And if it started snowballing into something more of a political circus, then I wouldn't want to be part of it, So those would be my conditions that I would want to be there. Again, just MBD, Underwood, contractor, Drinking Water, Groundwater Trust Fund, maybe 1 or 2 representatives, and whatever, if all the commissioners want to come, that's fine, But as far as Drinking Water, Groundwater Trust Fund, just maybe 1 or 2 of them, Underwood, just, a few of them. Some of the people that have been putting the time and effort into this. It's kind of like it's a culmination of all that effort, Other than the settlement agreement, St. Gobain hasn't really done anything. It was our burden to design this thing. So we should be the ones this is for us, not for anybody else, basically. And Drinking Water, Groundwater Trust Fund, I think we owe them a thanks for entertaining our applications. They did put $405,000 towards wells 4 and 5, correct? Yep.
So
I think having them there is important. I don't know if, typically that would probably be someone from the DES staff that would probably be representing Drinking Water, Groundwater Trust Fund, right? So maybe that would cover someone from DES as well. We thought maybe we want to have someone from DES there. But I look at the people who really were involved with designing getting us where we are at wells 4 and 5, and it's those participants that I just mentioned. So if you guys agree with that, that's fine. If we don't want to do this at all, that's fine too. I don't really feel strong one way or the other. I think it'd be a nice press thing though. It'd be a nice thing to get that in the paper so our customers know, that we're making progress here, because they might not, I'm not aware that it's been in the press any other time that we're breaking ground out there. It's being built right now.
There wasn't even the typical what's being built over there.
Right.
Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, other than a few Facebook posts saying, well, what's going on over there?
No, we haven't yet, not that one.
Joe?
I agree with Ken, it should be open house when it's completed so everybody can see how it works. And I would have a suggestion that Ron or somebody on his staff take a picture every couple of weeks of the site as it's developed, and put it on Facebook, and put it on our website,
Great
so
idea.
people can see the progress being made.
It's already in the
Probably
works.
Yeah.
It's already in the works.
Good, good to hear.
Great minds think alike.
You gotta use that Facebook page a little more and stuff, I think, for sure.
As far as for a ribbon cutting ceremony, I don't think we need one.
What, did we do it on 12, 7,
No.
and 8 at all? No?
No.
Nothing like that?
Nothing.
I think we talked about it, but it kind of,
There was a picture in the paper about the sign.
Mm.
DES put the sign up,
yeah,
and that was all.
but it kind of got I mean, we're bringing it on right when everything was hitting, so it kind of
Yeah.
was overshadowed by the
Well,
PFAS.
You know, maybe we go there, take a picture of the Drinking Water Groundwater Trust Fund sign that's there,
And send it to the newspapers.
send it to the newspaper and there, that,
I'll do a press release.
you know, I think at a minimum, I would definitely wanna do a press release. This is good information, it's good news.
Right.
Let's get it out, you know, there's so much negativity out there.
Seeing as it was already thought of, we would direct staff to do it.
Works for me.
Do what?
Press
Press release?
Press
What you saying, Joe? What the heck?
Press release and Facebook.
No, we've already got, progress photos that,
Okay.
Underwood, for Joe.
Joel's been taking, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Or the press, we just got them downloaded, and Amy's gonna do some stuff on the website.
But as far as like a grand opening kind of thing, that probably needs about 6 months preparation too, easily. So we should probably think about making a vote there too, you and nay, and then put some resources behind it to get it organized.
I think that's a great idea.
And
An
and
open
as far
house,
as
post-construction.
yeah, as far as money or something like that, I would, we can do like a food truck kind of thing, invite some food trucks, something. I don't think we need to.
Oh, wow, it's got a barbecue.
No, it's a glass of water, no?
We can have the water free, but I don't think we need to throw a big party either, so.
Yeah.
So,
Right. All right, so if that's the consensus of the board to have you guys go ahead and proceed with just, we'll blow off the ribbon cutting thing, we'll just put a, Facebook page update with some photos, probably a written press release.
Sounds good.
Independent of that, I thought it would be good if MVD could just issue a thank you letter. Particularly, the other thing no one knows about is that we were awarded $1.5 million of grant money towards wells 2, 3, 7, and 8, correct? That hasn't hit the press, that no one knows about that. This, I think I'm the first time releasing that information to anybody on public, so we need to get the good news out more. I think that's, so this part of the Drinking Water Groundwater Trust Fund thank you letter, I think we could roll the 405,000 in for wells 4 and 5. We could roll in the 1.5 million for wells 2, 3, 7, and 8. And there's some money for the Turkey Hill booster that we got from them, or not? No, it was just loans for that.
Loans for that and loans, well, we will be getting loans.
Right, in addition to the 1.5 million grant, we also got, 6.5 million of loans for wells 2, 3, 7, and 8?
20 grand for Witch's Brook.
$20,000 towards the Witches Brook study. I don't know if it's,
That wasn't through the, that
it was,
Oh, was it?
yeah, it definitely was.
Okay.
So it was
Oh,
30,
no, we got source water protection.
That's source water
That's it.
protection grant.
it was?
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so at least the 1.5 million, the 405 for well 4, and I guess that's probably it at this point, but, and then also the loan amount that they offered to us. I don't know, I don't know what you guys think, maybe I'm making more out of this than
No, I
real,
agree.
but
No, I
I
agree with
tend to
that
like to
thank you
thank
letter.
people when,
absolutely.
Yeah.
to let them know.
Well, it's good for people to know that such a thing exists, right?
Right, right.
That this trust fund exists, that there's state funds available for these projects, that the state is paying attention to these situations and allocating monies toward it.
And I think the state deserves to know that by us thanking them, that's good publicity for them too, so, and I don't see why we wouldn't wanna do that for them either.
And it's not from a specific party at all, because there's all kinds of representatives on the committee, so.
Yeah.
It's not political.
It's not a political thing at all, it's just thanking the trust for their involvement, listening to our, you know, I took a day out of work to go up there twice. So, you know, thanking them for listening to me, listening to us, you know. In Underwood, you know, we've spent time up there and it hasn't fallen on deaf ears, and I think they deserve to know that we're appreciative of that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Write the letter to and bring it back to us.
Okay. We can do that. All right, so let's move on. Where are we, number 8? Board of Commissioners to discuss possible new support position with Superintendent Ron Meyer. Something you brought forth? Or is this your?
It's the,
He was talking about a junior engineer.
yeah, Ron and I talked a little about, I know you guys are, so the idea that I suggested is, given all these projects that are going on, we're planning to invest $20 million over the next 4 years, right? Don is acting, you know, as a liaison right now, he's taking ownership of a lot of these discussions. I know you guys are heavily involved, Kevin is involved, and some of the other staff members, I'm sure, are as well involved. But this operation is growing, and while we're not a for-profit organization and as such, don't need to really focus so much on business and, you know, growth and revenue increase and EBITDA increase and all that stuff. We don't need to really focus on that, right? So as far as the management goes, we can focus on the operation because that's really what matters. But the operation is growing hard over the next 4 years. We're going to be adding staff for sure for the plant, the operation, for the maintenance and stuff. So my point was a little bit, we have a lot of discussions that are coming up with GS and other organizations as far as finding the blues that are out there and securing monies for all the investment that the voters have voted into place, right, over the next couple of years. There's some homework to be done on that end as well. We need a driver. I asked in the last meeting about it for discussion about ownership, and we need ownership there. So if you were able to delegate some of the more technical tasks, site reviews, plan reviews, and so on, to somebody that is from the discipline of water management, water engineering, and you could focus more on the next level of tasks. As I said it before, I believe that as a manager, you do your job best if you create a vacuum after you and people can fill in, right? So you don't leave it empty, but you have people grow into the vacuum, and I think it would be helpful for the MPD with all that growth that we're seeing right now. That was forced upon us so much, right? For you to grow into, really for you as well, Joe, there's work to be done that we're not covering right now. And that only can happen is if you have somebody that you can delegate stuff to, someone not as involved tasks, right? So I know you guys talked about a clerical position.
Yes.
Which I can see for like the testing, monitoring, some of the compliance work and reporting work. I can see that. But I can't see for all the other work that we're doing now with Underwood, $20 million worth of work. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Should we think about, you know, a career path for the staff? Should we think about, you know, being future-proof and having somebody that does some of the work that you do in the team as far as the development of the system goes, right? Should we take a proactive measure, maybe not this year, but maybe next year over time, to allow that to happen?
I do see some of that, what you were just talking about, as far as like the plant reviews. With the new inspector position as well as the operations manager position, I do see those two positions picking up more of that plant review.
Okay.
about the project, I mean, the operations manager will see the treatment plant designs, that kind of stuff. The inspector probably won't, but it'll be more on the growth of the town. That's what they're gonna pick up more on. The inspector will pick up on those as well. But again, the operations manager will see treatment plants as well as treatment foreman, take a look at those as well. So that thing can pass around. So I do see that getting kind of, again, I'm still looking at it as well, but not as detailed, I guess. I still would want to see that, my input on how things are being designed.
It might not be something for this year, maybe it's something for next year, but let's have an eye on that. And I understand what you're saying, that you want to have an eye on these things yourself, but that doesn't mean that you can't. Again, we'll see how this progresses. Right now, we haven't even started, right? We have broken ground, that's all we did, right? So the real work of reviewing invoices this thick from reports from underwood and so on, that work's still going to come. So maybe in a couple of months, you're going to look differently at that.
Well, I know, I just.
I'll wait.
I've been going through, the submittals on our CAD. There's a lot there.
Are you looking for a full-time position in VD, or are you looking for somebody to hire in VDs on contract basis?
I would probably look at it as an employment, not as a subcontractor. You can argue that it could be subcontracted because these projects will come to an end. By the time they come to an end, we have to see what else is out there. I mean, again, we're talking about 3 additional plants at that time, right? So, just your maintenance management, right? Your maintenance tracking and your maintenance planning will go big time at that time. Will go up big time at that point. You can obviously have the plant supervisors or plant leads take ownership of that, right? And maybe spread it out like that, possibly. Could go both ways. My goal was more to be a little bit more future-proof, you know. Yeah. So, from my standpoint, it probably would be a higher position or a contracting position.
But we certainly have time to talk about it anyway. Budget time's coming up and all that, so it's.
That's kind of why I brought it up, maybe possibly for next year, and we're gonna see the next couple of months how things go, but I just, being on the implementation side of projects of that size myself, I just know there's gonna be crunch time coming, and again, if the different foremen and inspector roles can take some of that grunt, that workload, that could be an option, and maybe I didn't see that. But the goal is also, what if you get hit by a bus tomorrow? No offense, not that I.
Win the
wish
lottery,
that, right.
win the
Okay,
lottery.
that's a better one, okay. I said that before, I think. But again, I mean, we have tens of thousands of people relying on us, right? And we have, like you said yourself, we have a lot of people that are retiring. We have new people, young people that are picking up the slack of what I'm hearing. They're excited, they're motivated, so that's great, right? But, if across the board we're losing experience, it might be a good idea to actually be proactively planning for succession one way or another. Not that you're in an age where you would retire by any means, but again, we're growing as far as the operation goes big time. We're multiplying the NVD of 2 years ago by 4, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Simple as that. So. Okay.
All right, so let's move on to item number 9, which is the review of minutes from July 15th, public and non-public sessions, which was tabled from August 19th. And the August 19th, public and non-public sessions minutes. I don't have any edits, so Believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
Everybody's holding their breath.
Well, I have to make it known, I did get the Word file and made my own, red line changes, so those have been incorporated in here.
Good job.
I kind of would like to add one thing on the meeting in itself. July 15th, and that's page 8.
So public,
Yep. Page 8. I guess somewhere between line 19 and line 23. This is the part where we talked about a masonry pump. What's the proper term? Masonry? No, what's
What line is it?
It's about the sewer hookup for 4 and 5.
What line are you
I would, page 8, line 19.
mm,
I had mentioned that I am very much opposed to having a forced sewer feed,
first,
sanitary sewer feed into the sewer
The
system.
force main.
So, what's that?
The force main?
The force main,
the
yeah,
pumping force
I
main.
think that should go on record. The town council in the town need to hear that that's a really, really bad idea.
okay, so you noted,
The
you again,
sewer pump,
Right.
a sewer pump for sanitary sewage into the sewer system is not acceptable.
The sewer pump force main is not acceptable.
It really isn't.
I agree.
And I also did mention that worst case, sanitary and backflush plumbing could be clearly physically separated to avoid any misunderstandings or to avoid any, to avoid any risk of backflush making it into the sewer. Into the public sewer, I guess.
Right.
If you got that, I'm impressed.
I did this
I am
time.
impressed then. Thank you.
So I had one question on that 15-inch sewer force main, and it is 15-inch. I questioned that, right? So you found that in here.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause I saw it on Channel 20, and they said 15-inch several times. So.
Yeah.
Great. Anybody have any questions, comments, edits for the minutes? If not, we can.
Separate.
Can we do each of these separately, or can we do them all together?
Do the July.
What's that?
I wasn't at the July 15th.
Oh, that's right, that's true. We have to do this individually then. Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the July 15, 2019 public minutes as amended?
You put on the edits email, they're in here, right?
Your edits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody want to move to accept the July 15 public session minutes as amended?
I'm going to have the minutes amended.
Who was
July
here for
15.
that? Was everybody here for that?
No,
It was just Wolfie and Ken.
that's all.
Okay.
Are you moving?
Yes. I moved to have the
Second.
minutes. Yep.
Moved by Ken, second by Wolf. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. No abstentions.
Abstention.
One abstention. Motion for the July 15 non-public meeting minutes with no revisions. Gonna be one or two of you guys, because you weren't here for that one either, right? So I think
Wanna move again?
Move that they,
Be accepted.
Move the
You accepted.
non-public minutes of July 15th,
be
Move.
accepted. That's it.
moved by Ken, second by Wolf.
Yes, sir. Thanks for volunteering.
All those in favor, signify by
Aye.
saying aye. One abstention for Joe.
Yep.
So 3-0-1. And we can move on to August 19 meeting minutes. Any edits? Nothing for that? Someone want to make a motion for accepting the August 19 meeting minutes as presented?
So move.
Moved by Joe,
Seconded.
second by Ken. Questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions, oppositions, none, 4-0-0. And finally, the August 19 non-public meeting minutes. Anybody want to make a motion
So
to
moved.
accept those as printed? Moved by Wolf,
Seconded.
second by Joe. Questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Abstentions, none, 4-0-0. Great. All right, so now we're at old business, and we are only 4 minutes late. 8 o'clock and it's 8:04 right now, so we're pretty good. Anybody have any old business to bring up?
New business.
Or no old business? Anybody have any new business to bring up? All my new business was rolled into the agenda, so I don't have any new business. You got anything, Wolf?
Keep moving.
Seeing no new business being presented, then we'll move on to number 12, superintendent's report.
I don't really have anything other than, I just got some stats, for the our website. We've had,
That's
50
it's good to know.
50,327 total reads.
Really?
Total reads over the entire time,
I was gonna say.
every time one person reads it.
Since when?
So this is, since December 14th to August 20th.
That just means someone goes to the website?
Somebody read something.
Total visitors, 25,349. And I just have, the reads for the day, but,
Bless you. Thank you.
total visitors in August, 1,844. And, I don't know, visitors per day is 83, I guess.
Huh.
That's-
So that kind of sounds like a lot, because what's happened is we send out a notification to 53 people, all 53 go read that one email, but they also got the one about the odd, even, and this and that. So just wanted to keep that in mind, that we don't have 10,000 people visit our website, it's the same 5. I don't know how many.
This does not include any search bots or anything like that, right? Like Google's pinging all these websites and siphoning the data off and indexing it and so on.
No, that's just.
This is actual users?
notifications. It's people that signed up, just like the town website, for notifications, odd, even, what else?
Well, this is right off the website, stats right off the website, so it could be what you're talking about as well, people.
It's just people that go to the website looking for information.
You ever have like a tally how many people use the bill pay on there?
It's,
Use the
that's
what?
through a third
Bill
party,
Oh, okay.
so that was not us.
Does it show you how many people are accessing the PFAS sites versus the odd even restriction?
Yeah, like the individual pages or anything?
I'd have to go back and look, I don't have that on here, so, I'd have to ask that question, I don't know if it does or not.
I'd be curious how many people are actually actively looking at that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Well, Ron had mentioned that before, and that's when we went on, we started doing the MCO. So this is the report, it doesn't say what date's on here. But it's we sent out on 7/18 that notifications list, and 53 people, I think it is, 50 people, right on the money, actually I signed up for notifications. Of the 50 notifications went out, only 28 people read it.
Huh.
And that was as
I
of
read it.
last week, it was a month ago. So I don't know, so they're probably passing the word on to others and they're getting the information that way as well. But that's just the people that signed up.
So if people are viewing us right now that want to get on the push list,
It's on the bottom of every single page.
it's right on our website,
Every single page is sign up for notifications.
mvdwater.org, and you can sign up for email notifications of flushing PFAS sample results every month.
Oh, I see, you're doing the camera thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talking to them. Talking to that one guy out there. That's probably me watching.
Like DVR at home.
All right.
It's 170 people right now on the Facebook page that liked it. So usually not everybody likes it. A lot of people just look at it but don't like it. So you're probably still talking about close to 1,000 people that looked at it before.
Look at what?
The Facebook
Facebook
page.
page.
Oh. We can talk about yours.
No. All right. The only thing we have left, questions from the public. Any public out there? Questions from the press? No press?
Will we adjourn?
Okay.
Motion to adjourn, made by Joe,
That
seconded by
happened.
Wolf. All those in favor? signify by saying aye. 400. Thank you for joining.
Oh, my stomach's so
We are adjourned.